high, deep drive into left field, and this ball is long gone. Safe, he got under the tag.
One hop the wall and it lands for a double.
Want to ride into deep left field, and this ball is gone. Falmouth is going to the Western.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Good evening and happy July 4th from Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. David Korzenowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. Happy to be with you on this beautiful Thursday evening on what has been a fantastic day so far. The Commodores coming off of a 6-1 win last night against Cotuit, travel to Lowell Park to take on the Kettleers for the second day in a row. Danny, we talked about it a little in the pregame show. A largely similar lineup for the Commodores. Hitters 1 through 5 remain the same.
Yeah, keeping that the same because the heart of the order was fantastic yesterday. They were great at getting on base. They were walking a lot. This Cotuit pitching staff showed that they didn't really have their control down. So Falmouth sticking with those guys who do walk a lot. Cantrell gets on base constantly. Blake Dunn leads the team in walks. Zach Deloach, who's been getting on base a lot with hits, he's also been when he's getting out, he's working really good at bats, fouling the ball off a lot. So they're keeping all those guys in who have been known to force long at bats and get on base through more ways than one.
So the Commodores batting order, Hayden Cantrell leading off, playing second. Blake Dunn in the 2 spot, playing center field. Zach Deloach batting third for the 3rd night in a row, out in right. Troy Clonch cleaning up and catching. Trey Cruz at 5th and playing short. Taylor Smith back in the lineup. His last time out, he had a grand slam against Brewster. He's in the 6th spot and DHing. Jackson Coots playing first, batting 7th. Tim Tawa batting 8th, playing 3rd. And rounding out the order, Austin Langworthy, 3rd-year Commodore, in left field. So we take a look at the Cotuit side. Sean Sullivan on the mound, a righty from Cal Berkeley. He's got an even 4.00 ERA on the Cape this summer. Danny, start number 4 for Sullivan.
Yeah, so he's become pretty much a workhorse for Cotuit as he is now, as you mentioned, making his 4th start, although in those starts hasn't really gone too deep. His first start was his longest. It was 4 innings of work against Hyannis on June 12th. That was en route to a 11-0 win, Didn't allow a run, only 1 hit. And then things have gotten progressively a little bit worse. His last time out at Orleans, a 10-6 loss. He got tagged with the loss. 3 innings of work, 4 earned runs, 4 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. So nothing that has been too, upsetting for Sullivan, just except that 1 start has bumped his ERA up to an even 4.
Sullivan making his home pitching debut. His first 3 starts were all on the road at Eldridge Park, White House Field, and McKeon Park. He and the hometown Kettleers take on the Commodores for the 2nd night in a row, 2nd of 6 matchups this summer between these 2 rivals, separated by just 10 miles. Throwing down is Sam Ferry, the catcher from Arizona State, and we are just about underway. Our first trip to Lowell Park this summer. We'll be back 2 more times.
Couldn't be on a better day, pardon
yeah.
me, David. I mean, this is probably the biggest crowd that Cotuit will get all season long, and this is a ballpark that already has, 1,000-plus fans in attendance for most games.
Hayden Cantrell, switch hitter from UL Lafayette, steps in, batting as a lefty. Here's the pitch from Sullivan. It's a fastball inside, clocking in at 92 miles an hour, so says the radar gun, and the scoreboard out in left center field. First pitch comes at 5:01 p.m. Temperature here in Cotuit, 85 degrees. Another fastball. This one misses low, and Cantrell quickly up 2-0. Hayden Cantrell, 3 home runs, 3 doubles on the summer, and 12 RBIs. The 2-0 is a fastball lifted into right field. Ranging over is Shavers. And he makes the catch.
No, got down.
It did get down.
Yeah, bloop shot looked like Shavers was going to have a read on it, and he kind of just stopped as that one completely died. I thought that was going to be about, mid to right center field, maybe even deeper than that, and instead it only went about 20 feet onto the outfield grass, so Hayden getting some help on a very humid day, maybe bringing the ball down early.
Blake Dunn steps in with 1 on and nobody out. Cantrell slides back into first as Sullivan checks on Cantrell. Out at first base, Commodores leading the Cape League in stolen bases. They now have 34 on the summer. First pitch to Dunn. He shows bunt, pulls back, and takes a strike. Blake Dunn batting .263 this summer, 1 double, 7 RBIs. Sullivan from the stretch quickly hops off the mound and throws over to Joey Loperfido. Defensive alignment for the Kettleers, Christian Robinson out in left, Cam Hill in center, Parker Shavers in right, Casey Schmidt at third, Adam Oviedo at short, Nick Gonzalez at second, and Joey Loperfido at first. Catching is Sam Ferry. Running is Hayden Cantrell. Throw down to second base. Tag! Not in time. Hayden Cantrell moves into scoring position, and just like that, runner on second with nobody out.
I mean, it's like clockwork. It's you can bet on that every single time. I know Cotuit was expecting it. They went and checked over on Cantrell a couple of times, and they still can't get him. I've never seen a success rate like this. I don't know what it is, whether Falmouth is just, lightning fast, or whether the catchers on the Cape just don't have the chops to throw him out.
9th stolen base of the year for Cantrell. He's 9 for 10 on stolen base attempts. And the one time he was caught stealing was in Game 1 of the season against Harwich. 1-1 count to Blake Dunn, the righty from Western Michigan. He watches off speed that misses outside.
You can expect a very patient at-bat from Blake tonight. Pretty much every single at-bat he has, leads the team in walks. He's always usually patient. Given how Cotuit pitched yesterday, wouldn't want him swinging too early.
The 2-1. It's a curveball that dies outside. 3-1 the count now to the two-hitter. Blake Dunn 2 nights ago was 0 for 3 against Brewster in a hit parade for the Commodores. They had 19 hits and 12 runs. Last night, he had a little bit more success, was 2 for 4 in a 6-1 win against the Kettleers. Sullivan shakes off Ferry once, shakes him off twice, finally agrees on the third sign from Ferry. Dunn is going to take time and step out of the box.
So I'm looking at Hayden Cantrell at second base. I'm not sure if he put his arms up when he finally came set saying, oh my God, just go already, or if he put up a certain number of fingers to tell Blake what the pitch was.
3-1. Fastball that goes right down the middle. 3-2 the count. Dunn, who was a standout with the Western Michigan Broncos in his sophomore year, batted .374. He's got a 3-2 count now and nobody out. Cracks one into the gap on the right side of the infield. Splits Gonzalez and Lo Perfido. Cantrell moves over to third base. Runners on the corners and nobody out.
Yeah, I think Hayden was shooting the signs to Blake Dunn. Given the arm motion he had, kind of a big looping with his right hand, basically telling him, yeah, expect curveball, and Dunn was looking for it. He sat back on that curve, and it was left too far in the zone by Sullivan. He kept that about letter high, which, I mean, a ground ball base hit to the right side. You're lucky if you leave a curveball letter high, and that's the result. But Blake was sitting back on it. Often we've seen a lot of doors not really expecting curveball with 2 strikes. A lot of pitchers like to go to their fastball, but Dunn was all over it.
Zach DeLoach steps in, but first another check over at first base, this time to Blake Dunn, who slides back in safely. DeLoach batting .382 on the summer, and he has been red hot lately. Had a 6 for 6 streak broken up last night, but he's 9 for his last 18 at the plate. Rising junior at Texas A&M, check swing, but he went around 0-1.
Yeah, 5-game hitting streak going. I think that's the longest for the Doors all season long. So Zach DeLoach has definitely earned himself that 3-hole, and he's the first guy who actually looks comfortable at the 3-hole. We know Hayden loves being in the leadoff position. Kendall kind of likes being at the 9-hole, but Zach DeLoach inserting himself as the 3-hitter and saying, keep me here.
0-1 the count. Sullivan, another fastball, and he's up 0-2. DeLoach takes a look at his bat head and steps into the box, taps the plate, adjusts his helmet, loops the bat around a couple of times, and gets set in his batting stance. Sullivan from the stretch, lifts his left leg and delivers high. 1-2.
Such a tricky moment to be in for Sullivan because he knows that DeLoach is red hot. Zach has been shooting both holes of the infield pretty well. It's not like you can keep it inside, expect him to pull, anything like that. But you're definitely going to have to keep it low, probably looking for strikeout because more often than not when Zach makes contact, it's making a gap.
Sullivan with 11 Ks this year. Dunn is running on the pitch. Foul ball back into the bleachers on the third base line.
Zach's got enough speed also that on a ground ball, he probably could beat out a double play. So for him, this is one of those rare instances where you've got a double play in order and you're kind of, hoping for a ground ball as opposed to a fly ball, especially if you can't get that fly ball too deep in the outfield.
1-2 the count. Delivery way high again. 2-2 now. First two Commodores to come to the plate. Reached by way of a single. Hayden Cantrell, bloop shot into right field. Blake Dunn, a line drive that split second base and first base. Another off speed that just does not break, and it's way high. Now a full count worked by DeLoach.
Yeah, these curveballs have been brutal. I mean, the one curveball that he got in the strike zone was to Blake Dunn, and it was, right down the middle about letter high, and Dunn was able to get a hit. Everything else has been about eye level. So you want to get those low, obviously. It's a curveball. You're supposed to spike it.
Payoff pitch, Dunn running. This one into center field. Backtracking is Cam Hill. Makes the catch on the run. Tagging is Hayden Cantrell. He'll be in safely in plenty of time. Doors take a 1-0 lead.
Sullivan knew that his breaking ball wasn't hitting his spots, went with a fastball, and DeLoach put everything into that. I don't think it would have gotten out in really any part of this ballpark unless maybe he hugged the pole, but he put a jolt into it, dead center field. It was a juicy pitch, fastball right down the middle. And Zach, he maybe just had a little bit more momentum behind it, could have had a 3-run home run.
Now the cleanup man, Troy Clonch, steps in. He was cleanup last night and had a good night against Cotuit. Went 2 for 5. His second multi-hit game of the year. Sliding in safely at first is Blake Dunn. Troy Clonch, catcher from Oregon State University. Played first base last night. First time this summer he's done so. Pitch out. Check back down at first base. And a nice snag by Loper Fido on an inaccurate throw from Ferry to prevent Dunn from moving over to second.
Yeah, Dunn was lollygagging off the base, and he probably should have dove back in as well. He decided not to slide. That could have been real trouble if Pasek had delivered a strike. Pardon me, Ferry had delivered a strike over to first base. But Loper Fido turned out to be the star of the play because he saved Dunn from probably going to third.
Dunn is running. High pitch, throw down to second base, and the ball gets away. Dunn is up and going towards third. Throw in from left field to Robinson is not in time, and Blake Dunn moves from first to third just like that. A runner is 90 feet away from making this a 2-0 game.
Yeah, I think that's going to go down as an E2 as that throw was completely wild. It hit him as he was sliding in. And the Falmouth Commodores continue to run all over everybody. They're doing it against Cotuit, even against, the Arizona State catcher, the big blue chip program and everything, and they're still making them look sorry. So Falmouth pretty much taking everything that they're given, and even when they're not given much, they're still taking.
Still just one out. Troy Clonch watches a ball high. That off speed has just not been breaking over the plate, and it stayed well high to the last few batters.
Yeah, that's when you know something's wrong, and he's trying to go back to it just to establish it, just to be able to throw it, and it has not worked.
Goes fastball, and it's upstairs as well. Troy Clonch tosses the bat back to the dugout and makes his way to first base. Runners on the corners yet again, this time Dunn at third and Clonch at first.
Well, that's, silver lining for Cotuit, maybe a good thing. Now they have a double play in order. But again, Trey Cruz has plenty of speed himself, so if he even hits a ground ball, he could leg it out and perhaps reach on a fielder's choice while scoring the run. There's just so much speed 1 through 9 in this Falmouth lineup that everybody brings an element, and Cotuit can't really get comfortable.
Trey Cruz batting fifth for the second night in a row. He's playing shortstop tonight. Last night he was the designated hitter. Switch hitter from Rice University takes a big hack at the first fastball and can't connect. 0-1.
His legs are usually always ahead of his hands on his swing, which is kind of a quirky swing. It works for him more often than not. He generates a lot of power that way, which is why with his lanky frame, he is able to hit for power more often than not. But sometimes, like on that fastball, it holds him back.
The 0-1 is high. Count even. Commodores already with 2 stolen bases, one by Hayden Cantrell, one by Blake Dunn, who then reached third on a throwing error from Sam Ferry. Sliced foul on pitch number 3 of the AB, 1-2 count. More on Sean Sullivan, rising sophomore at Cal Berkeley. His freshman campaign, a 6.12 ERA, 2-1 record in 20 appearances. Made 2 starts, but was primarily a reliever for the Golden Bears. 25 innings of work. The 1-2, off speed, a little bit closer to the zone, but still high and inside. 2-2.
Yeah, and I always say it, but you don't want to miss high with your curveball because when you do bring it over the strike zone, you're hanging it at the belt, and that's more often than not going to go 400 feet.
397 to dead center here at Lowell Park. The 2-2. Cracked foul out of play.
Cruz again with those legs a little early. He stepped out of it a little bit, didn't square up to the ball as much as he could have, which is why kind of takes your shoulders out, takes your whole upper body out, and he's only able to make a little piece of it when through the first, 90% of his swing, he was right locked in on it.
2-2 the count. Sullivan from the stretch. Runners on the corners for the Doors. Beautiful pitch there. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
That was a great pitch. Cruz was all in on it. He had it lined up perfectly, but it just bottoms out at the last second, out ahead as well as he as in Sullivan, just went from about 90, 91 to 81 like that, which is always a very effective change of pace for the pitchers, and especially when you're throwing it over the strike zone like he did just there. Finally got a breaking ball to sit at the knees, which is exactly where you need it to be.
Taylor Smith, who will be making the transfer to Grayson County College this year, steps in. 2 outs, 2 runners on for Falmouth. They have a 1-0 lead thanks to a sac fly from Zach DeLoach. 79-mile-an-hour curveball catches the outside black, 0-1. Smith has 3 hits this summer in 10 at-bats. All 3 are extra base hits. 1 double and 2 home runs. The 0-1. Same exact pitch, same exact call, 0-2.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it now. It took Sullivan about 8 or 9 of those curveballs to finally start hitting them in the strike zone, but he is painting with it right now, and it looks like he's got his mojo.
Doors still threatening to expand their lead. Blake Dunn on third base, Troy Clunch on first. Here's one that's cracked well foul. Oh, and 2 still the count.
Taylor Smith has so much power. I mean, obviously you show off the power when you're way out ahead of a pitch like that, but it's surprising for a guy, going to Grayson County. Nobody really knew he was going to be coming. Wasn't one of those big names on the preseason roster, and he emerges as one of the biggest threats in the middle of the lineup.
He's had 2 home runs. Both were pulled to deep left field. The 0-2. Ball 1 just outside. Calling the strikes tonight, Doug Isham. Joe Geronimo down at first base, and Ronaldo Cockrum, third base umpire. Wearing their baby blue tops today because of the hot temperature here at Lowell Park. It actually has cooled off kind of nicely, though.
Yeah,
a little
bit
partly cloudy. Strike 3, got him looking. Fastball on the outside, black, and the second straight strikeout for Sean Sullivan. Commodores score 1 on 2 hits. They leave 2 runners stranded, no error, 1 error for the Kettleers, as we head to the bottom of inning number 1 on this 4th of July matchup in the Western Division. We'll be back after the break.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
We are back at Lowell Park to walk you through the batting order for the Cotuit Kettleers. Again, very similar to the batting order they had last night. Top of the order, very similar. Nick Gonzalez leading off, playing second. Joey Loperfido, who had the lone RBI. It was a solo shot last night. He's batting second tonight. and playing first base. Christian Robinson is in the lineup, batting third, playing left. Casey Schmidt, cleanup man, playing third base. Parker Shavers playing right, batting fifth. Matt Mervis DHing in the sixth spot. Sam Ferry still looking for his first hit of the summer. He is in the 7 hole and catching. Cam Hill from Kentucky playing center, batting eighth. And Adam Oviedo rounding out the order, second year with Cotuit. On the mound for the Commodores, Sam Strickland making his third start of the summer and what will be his final start on Cape Cod.
Yeah, so Sam looking for a big final outing in order to impress some of these scouts that are here. Also give him a nice game to go out on. He's had, like we said in the pregame, nothing too fascinating, nothing too bad, but doesn't help your confidence. You want to have that one game where you're just all the way pretty perfect.
Gonzalez 1 for 4 last night. He was 4 for his previous 12. Ball 1 misses away to the righty.
And I like this move by Cotuit. You might think that after last night, only 4 or 5 hits, the 1 run, you might think that they shuffle around the lineup a ton, but that for this lineup is pretty much an anomaly. They're usually consistently very good.
Strike 1 on the outside part of the plate. Gonzalez, a rising junior at New Mexico State. Back in 2018 was a WAC Freshman of the Year. The 1-1. Off speed, roped down the left field line. Will it stay fair? No. It lands about a yard foul. 1-2 now the count.
Big looping curveball outside part of the plate. Gonzalez pulled it somehow. So it seems like he was really locked into the curve despite all of its movement. Maybe Strickland tipping it a little too much.
Ranging over was Austin Langworthy, who's playing left field tonight. Outfield is pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. Blake Dunn manning center field and Zach DeLoach out in right. Infield from left to right, Tim Tawa at third, Trey Cruz at short, Hayden Cantrell at second, and Jackson Coots at first base. Catching is Troy Clonch, who blocks an off-speed pitch in the dirt, 2-2. Gonzalez, a temporary player in Cotuit last summer, joined at the very end of the season. Had a few pinch running appearances. 2-2 fastball up the middle. That'll do the job for a leadoff single. Nice piece of contact from Gonzalez. No chance for Trey Cruz over at shortstop.
And that's the Nick Gonzalez that pretty much every other pitching staff across the Cape has seen so far. Yesterday, he was held very quiet. He didn't get any hard contact pretty much at all. Nick Nastrini was running roughshod through him, and after him, Sam Weatherly. This time, gets a big, juicy pitch, middle of the plate, takes it right back where it came from. So he seems to, every single time when he kind of has a tough day, he bounces back really well. So far, so good, 1 for 1.
Loperfido from Duke University watches a curveball outside. He had a solo shot in the second inning, gave Cotuit a 1-0 lead. Kettleers first in the Cape League in home runs with 19 as a team. They now have 10 players on their roster who have gone yard. The 1-0 is low and away, 2-0. Loperfido from Haddonfield, New Jersey, stands at 6'4", 195. Strickland towing the rubber, 6'2", 225. He's a rising junior at Samford University. Shakes off Troy Clonch once. Settles in the stretch, lifts and delivers. Lefty-lefty matchup. High fastball, 3-0.
And this is Sam's issue. When he does start to let guys on base, then the at-bats get, longer. He starts running into problems that he creates by throwing more balls. So he's just got to kind of regain focus after allowing a loud hit.
Time is called by Doug Isham behind the plate. 3-0 count to the two-hitter. Has a couple extra base hits on the year. Strickland, last time out against Hyannis, 4 innings of work, 2 earned runs, and 3 hits against Hyannis. Fastball down the middle makes it 3-1. And he's put up consistent starts, right? His line in both of his first 2 starts looks very similar. 4 innings of work, 3 runs in each, 2 of them earned. He had 2 walks and 3 strikeouts against Hyannis. 3-1 swung on and missed. 3-2.
There he goes. He's back to hitting the strike zone a lot more. He's got some jump to his fastball as well. It's not, wowing anybody in the mid-90s or anything like that, but it's got some extra zip to it. And that's Sam Strickland, what we saw really in game 1 against Harwich that he pitched. He was hit around quite a bit, but he was hitting the zone, which is why.
Payoff pitch. Low at the shins, ball 4. 2 runners on, nobody out here for Christian Robinson. And first walk of the night for either side.
Yeah, Strickland had no walks his first time out, did have 2 walks his last time against Hyannis in 4 innings of work. Doesn't throw too many walks, but he does get behind a lot of hitters like he just did there with Lo Perfido. So now it comes down to just getting away from that, getting those first pitch strikes, trying to get ahead in counts, and hoping that you don't, lose your confidence by throwing more balls.
Christian Robinson, big lefty from Stanford University, steps in. 6'3", 215 from Melbourne, Florida. Watches ball 1 low. Has a 278 average this summer with a double and 3 RBIs. It's 2 for his last 7 at the plate. He's got hits in half of the games that he's played. He's only played 6 games for the Kettleers coming into tonight. Here's a high fly ball into right field. It's dropping quickly. DeLoach is in. Cantrell is back. He makes the catch. In shallow right field, 1 down.
Well, that's pretty much as good as a strikeout. You had 2 runners on, nobody out. Maybe you're looking ground ball to turn 2, maybe 3 if things get wacky, but a strikeout works as well, or a pop out. As long as none of those runners can advance, it's a win, and that's what Strickland just finessed.
So Robinson is the first batter for Cotuit to not reach base. Nick Gonzalez singled and then moved over to second base on the walk to Joey Lo Perfido. Casey Schmidt, the cleanup man, batting just 182 this summer, steps in. He's 0 for 4 last night, but moves up in the batting order. Schmidt from San Diego State skies another fly ball. This one's over in the bleachers right behind us. 1 hops to the last row, and a nice catch by one of the fans here at Lowell Park.
Yeah, you mentioned that Schmidt went 0 for last night and doesn't help his sub-200 batting average, as he's now got a good number of games under his belt. Played 15 games so far, and only with 10 hits. He got a little failure to launch, a guy who has put up good numbers at school, but not seeing the transition to the wooden bat.
Does have 3 long bombs this summer for Cotuit. One of 4 players to have 3 home runs on this team. Curveball misses well outside, 1-1. And just for perspective, I know we talked about this last night if you were listening. Just for perspective, Falmouth has 1 player who has 3 home runs, and Hayden Cantrell. 6 as a team. And 3 players total who have gone yard. Cotuit, 19 home runs as a team. 4 players who have 3 home runs, and 10 players who have at least 1. Strike on the inside, Black moves the count to 1-2.
That's just so wild to me. It's like Falmouth put together this small ball lineup that wins games through base running and contact hitting, sacrifice flies, bunts, all that jazz, that you're used to seeing. And Cotuit was like, well, we'll just put together the power squad.
Casey Schmidt, despite that low average, does have power, no question about it. 4 extra base hits on the year. One of his better games, had a home run and 3 RBIs against Hyannis. Here's a deep drive to left field, but it lands just foul. That one would have been home run number 4 if it stayed fair.
Boy, Strickland is putting that curveball on a tee. He is hanging it. He hung it to Nick Gonzalez. Gonzalez did a similar thing where he roped one down the left field line. It didn't get as deep, but it still would have landed for an extra base hit had it been fair. And now Schmidt does the same thing. That one would have been way out of here, but again, yanked it a little too much. But both of them were really cued in to the curveball from Strickland. It's coming in a big looping arc and breaking right over the middle of the plate to these right-handed bats. 1-2
the count to the cleanup man. Nick Gonzalez on second base, Joey Lo Perfido on first. One down here in the bottom of the first inning, 1-0 Falmouth. Fastball low, and Troy Clonch does a nice job blocking it 2-2.
He's trying to keep everything low, which is definitely, the go-to here. You're trying to force a ground ball, but Schmidt isn't letting him. I mean, watches that pitch sink low. The previous pitch was right around his knees, and he nearly put it out of the ballpark. So credit Casey Schmidt with being able to waste away the low pitches.
Strickland from the stretch, lifts and delivers. Another fly ball. Coots moves over, but again, out of play.
According to the radar gun here, Strickland just ramped it up to 94 miles an hour. Have not seen that type of velocity from him at all this summer, but part of the reason maybe why Schmidt only was able to get a piece of it and shoot it foul, because the previous two pitches, breaking balls around the 70s. So he just changes up the pace and goes upstairs and away with it too.
Long bottom of the first inning. Strickland working that pitch count up. He had a heavy workload during his sophomore year at Samford. Pitched almost 70 innings, 7-3 record, 4 ERA on the nose. This one chopped foul towards the Cotuit dugout. And Schmidt working along at bat as well.
Yeah, this is what we saw yesterday. Both teams had guys who worked very long at bats. It's why that 6-1 game, which didn't really see too many long innings with runners on base. I mean, Falmouth had the one where they loaded up the bases and had a merry-go-round going, but not too many like that. But it was still a 3-hour-plus game like the Brewster game was before it, with like half the hits because of at-bats like this one.
Falmouth has had a couple long games the past couple of nights, both around 3 hours and 15 minutes. Earlier start here out at Lowell Park because they don't have lights in that outfield. Strickland checks on Gonzalez at second base, steps off the mound, rubs his hand in some dirt, and settles back in.
At the pace we're going, this game is going to be in the 5th inning by the time it gets called.
Right. So once the sun sets here at Lowell Park and players can no longer see the ball as well, the game is called. Sunset to set at around 8:07 p.m. Line drive foul ball. Nearly hit a photographer who dances out of the way of it. 2-2.
Strickland's given some good pitches here. I mean, that was another curveball that broke over the middle, but he kept it further outside, kept it lower, and Schmidt just does a good job of being able to go down there and get it and fight it off. These have been a lot of really good pitches below the knees that he's been able to squeeze out a few foul balls and try to force a mistake.
Schmidt, a rising junior at San Diego State. From San Diego, California, went to East Lake High School. Freshman All-American back in 2018. Here comes pitch number 9 of the AB. Over towards third. Tawa onto second. He was off the bag. Excuse me, he was on the bag. Late call from Ronaldo Cockrum, the third base umpire. Runners on the corners and 2 down now on the putout from Tawa to Cantrell at second base.
Yeah, Hayden decided to eat the transfer because he saw that Schmidt had already legged out first base. But Cockrum, he made a call. He was just very fervently over and over again pointing down, up and down, up and down. And I thought that meant that he was saying that Hayden came off the bag. But he was saying that when he came back down, he landed back on the bag right before Loperfido was able to slide into it. So I guess Hayden getting a little bit of luck thanks to gravity.
Strike one comes in at the knees to Parker Shavers, so Casey Schmidt reaches on a fielder's choice after a marathon of an at-bat. 2 down now and 2 runners on for Cotuit. Chris Gonzalez, the lead runner at third, talking to head coach Mike Roberts. Curveball hangs high. Shavers swings and gets a piece of it, but fouls it away, 0-2. Shavers was 0 for 3 last night. Before that, he was 4 for his previous 8. Had a home run and 3 RBIs against Hyannis on July 1st. Running towards second base, Troy Clonch is going to eat it. As sliding in safely is Casey Schmidt. Now 2 runners. Strike 3, got him looking.
That's why I didn't throw it.
Strike 3 on the outside part of the plate to Shavers. He goes down on 3 pitches, and we will step aside. Cotuit gets 1 hit, leaves 2 runners stranded. No runs and no errors. 2 left on base. We'll be back after the break.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Inning number 2 set to begin here at Lowell Park, a 1-0 lead for the Falmouth Commodores, as the first inning lasted 33 minutes. And the score is just 1-0 in favor of Falmouth. 6 batters came to the plate for the Doors, 5 for the Kettleers. But Danny, these batters for both teams have made Sullivan and Strickland work.
Yeah, that's why it took us such a long time to finish the first inning as Jackson Cotuit fouls away the first pitch. Very fitting that he fouls it away because even though it does go down as a strike, first pitch of the at-bat, that's pretty much what we've been seeing is foul ball after foul ball after foul ball. Poor Lowell Park is going to have a big baseball price to pay after this one.
Ball 1 misses low to Jackson Cotuit. Cotuit back in the lineup, batting .318 this summer. Lefty who plays his ball with the URI Rams. He calls for time to Doug Isham. Adjusts the helmet and steps back in. Hitless in just 1 of the 7 games that he's played this year. Ball 2 misses low, another fastball from Sean Sullivan.
Both pitchers aren't helping their cases against these really stout hitters by falling behind in a lot of counts. Strickland did the same thing. Sullivan was constantly getting 3-ball counts.
2-1 belt-high changeup that Cotuit gets a piece of, and it dribbles over towards Mike Roberts, who mans the third base dugout for the Kettleers. Broke his bat, so he'll head to the first base dugout to get a new one. 2-2 count in the top of inning number 2.
These two teams just play such a grind of a baseball game between each other. I mean, we talked about it how yesterday the game just slowed down so severely. There were a bunch of long at-bats. There wasn't really much happening, but it was just kind of trudging along. And the same way here, and we're only through an inning.
Commodores with a 1-run lead. Trying to move their winning streak to 3 tonight. Here is a soft ground ball back to Sullivan, who fields it and flips it on to Loperfido at first, 1 down. Brings up Tim Tawa. Righty batter playing third tonight. And he's struggled this summer, Danny. 136 average. Still trying to find that hard contact here on the Cape.
Yeah, we're used to seeing Stanford guys come to the Cape and just tear it up. I mean, obviously the guys on the Doors last year, Andrew Dashbach on YD last year, he was phenomenal. Tawa, not the same success, but there we go.
It's a dribbler that gets in between Schmidt and Oviedo on the left side of the infield. Oviedo was shaded more towards second base, so a first pitch single for Tim Tawa.
Middle and fastball, Tawa didn't miss it at all. I mean, that was as good as you can get on a first pitch, so might as well swing at it, and it pays off for him. He yanks it, but good thing, puts it right into a hole.
Austin Langworthy in the 9 spot tonight and playing left field, batting .161 this summer as Sullivan settles in the stretch. Checks on Tawa at first, as is tradition. We've seen it a lot, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was so funny when, I think, Moretto or Coutts is on second base and there's 2 outs and 2 strikes and they keep checking on him. He's not going to go.
Right. Fastball away. to start off the AB to Austin Langworthy. Last time he was in the lineup was 3 nights ago now, against Orleans. And he was 1 for 4. Struck out his first 3 times up. And in the bottom of the ninth inning, he came up and roped a double to deep right field. Another check on Tawa at first. And talking to Jeff Trundy after the game, the word he kept using was close. He said that Austin Langworthy is so close in so many at-bats, and he feels like he's close to turning the corner here this summer.
I agree. His BP today looked phenomenal. His latest at-bat was a double, and it was the best hit he's gotten all season. His swing looked fantastic, so he's very, very close to breaking free, and I bet this is the game.
Foul tip into the mitt of Ferry moves the count to 1-1. And I think his last AB in that hard hit double to right field probably did something for his confidence as well. The 1-1 is another fastball, belt high and down the middle, 1-2.
He still didn't allow it to make him feel comfortable or anything, because talking to him after the game, he said that he kept coming up with all the frustrations he had from the first 3 at-bats. He wasn't really focusing on the double. He was more focusing on what he wasn't able to do earlier.
Rising senior at the University of Florida. 1-2. Low and in, off speed. That Langworthy lays off, and the count is even.
I think the key for Lang is just limiting the strikeouts. Once he starts putting more balls in play, they'll find gaps. It seems to be kind of his game, is he's able to make good contact, and he gets some help. So if he can just make contact more often than not, he's set.
13 strikeouts this summer, tied for second most on the team. This one spiked in the dirt, and the count full.
Well, having a great eye will help, as a couple of those pitches were close. That one was not. But it seems to be this breaking ball is very hit or miss for Sullivan, and he hasn't gotten it 100% consistent yet.
Langworthy has drawn 7 walks as well. That is third most on the team, behind Dunn and Cantrell, hitters 1 and 2, who are due up right after Langworthy. Sullivan settles in the stretch, glove at his belt. He looks into Ferry, who's setting up on the outside. Here's a hard hit ball to deep right field. Back is Shavers at the wall. He makes the catch just at the track. Hung up in the air for out number 2, and that was a loud one.
I was full sell that was going to go yard. I mean, I was just waiting for it. He got it so high in the air, had such great contact. You heard the oohs and ahs from the Cotuit crowd even. Oh, my goodness. I thought that was so close, but again,
it was so close.
Again, yeah. I thought that he was going to have it. But again, close is the word.
Yeah.
He was literally physically close to putting it over the wall.
It was a high fly ball into deep right field. Maybe just a fraction of an inch on the ball could have made the difference. Here's a hard hit ball to center field. It will also hang up for Hill in center, who calls off his right fielder and makes the catch. Couple of loud outs to end the top of inning number 2. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. To the bottom of the second we go on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Bottom 2 at Lowell Park, 1-0 Falmouth lead. Sam Strickland settles in the windup. 4 hitters, 6, 7, and 8 in this Cotuit lineup. Matt Mervis, Sam Ferry, and Cam Hill. Danny, long first inning of work for Strickland, but he gets out of it unscathed.
Yeah, a couple of pop-outs help him out. Good ground ball as well on a very long at-bat, so he's shown the battle level is up there.
Goes with the slider on the first pitch to Mervis. Breaks too far outside.
Just got to do less of those. Hit the strike zone earlier in the count, and then you'll not run up the pitch count.
Mervis, a rising senior at Duke. Lefty-lefty matchup. Swings at the second pitch and loops it foul. 274 average in his junior campaign. 54 games played. So he was a consistent addition, or staple, I should say, in the Blue Devils lineup. Had 31 RBIs. Swings at the third pitch, and it's another foul ball. This one directly back into the screen.
Mervis is really interesting because I think he is pretty much an addition to their lineup because he is a rising senior at Duke.
Yeah.
And his only, first year actually getting at bats was this past year because previously he appeared as a pitcher pretty consistently as a freshman and sophomore. All of a sudden his junior year they said, "All right, you're going to be an infielder now."
Off speed. He did not go around. That was a pretty looking slider from Strickland, but Mervis with a good eye, and he lays off.
You know how many games he played in total as a position player his first 2 years?
I'm going to block my eyes and not look, but
8. Only 8 games played as a freshman and
Wow.
sophomore, but he appeared as a pitcher 41 times.
2-2, sliced foul again. A grimace from Mervis, as he might want that pitch back. It was an 89-mile-an-hour fastball from Strickland. Pitching coach Mike Landry, as well as the Falmouth coaching staff, indicated this will be Strickland's last start of the summer, reaching that innings limit. The 2-2. This one a one-hopper onto Cantrell. Hard hit ball to the right side of the infield. He shuffles it on to first for out number 1.
Every single curveball Sam has thrown has been corkscrewed,
Yeah.
whether it's to righties or to lefties. This is it's getting risky throwing it a lot, but you got to throw it consistently because you don't want to go too many fastballs. You got to break up the pace, and at the same token, just like Sullivan did in the first inning, is you want to start throwing it for strikes and be able to cement it into your rotation pretty well. But as of right now, Cotuit is all over it.
Sam Ferry takes a fastball inside, about chin high. Ferry's still looking for that first hit of the summer. It's been elusive so far. The righty catcher plays his ball with the Sun Devils. And this is a hard hit ball to deep left center field. Dunn has a read on it, and he makes the catch. Oh my goodness, that range in center field is unparalleled. 2 down.
He didn't even have to dive for it. He didn't have to leap for it. He just got there in time, caught it on the run. That's a lot tougher of a catch than it looks like. Sometimes that can even be tougher than a diving catch because you have a chance of not catching up to it, maybe overrunning it, your momentum. You're taking hard steps. All of a sudden, you got to make the grab and the hand-eye coordination. The foot-eye coordination has to be on point. Everything is rocking for Blake Dunn in the outfield. And there's another long fly ball that dies well before the wall. So, I don't know what it is about the air here in Cotuit, but it's not lending itself to home runs as we've seen most of the season. It has.
Hill tries to lay down a bunt, but he can't connect with the fastball from Strickland. So it's 0-1. Hill batting .205 on the summer. And Ferry, who just got out, nearly had that first hit of 2019. Curveball, did he go around? Yes, he did, says Ronaldo Cockrum down at third. 0-2.
I think Sam Ferry is having an Austin Langworthy type moment where he's right on the cusp of breaking out of his slump, but he's nearly there.
The 0-2 to Hill. This is another high deep drive into left center field. This time Langworthy makes the catch on the run. He had less distance to cover than did Blake Dunn, and a 1-2-3 inning worked by Sam Strickland. He needed that one after throwing a handful of pitches in the first. Still 1-0 your score heading to the third. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
So we had a quicker second inning than the first, Danny. That second inning lasting about 15 minutes, half of the first inning in terms of time. We head to inning number 3, 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Commodores. Blake Dunn swings at the first pitch, fouls it back right by us. 0-1.
Blake is starting to get real consistent lately. I mean, there have been games for him where he's been 0 for with a couple of Ks, but there have been other games where he's gone like 2 for 2, 3 for 4 as he takes a ball outside. But in the last couple of games, he's been consistently getting, 1 hit, 2 hit, kind of spreading it out, and it looks like he's picking up some steam.
The 1-1 from Sullivan misses low and away. 2-1. He singled his first time up in that first inning. Back-to-back singles for Cantrell and Dunn to start off this game. The 2-1 is dribbled back towards the pitcher's mound, bare-handing it, but slipping is Sean Sullivan, so Dunn reaches first yet again. Would have been a tough play for Sullivan to make, and he couldn't squeeze the ball.
You just knew it right off the bat that Dunn breaking out of the box as quickly as he does with the speed he has, you knew he was going to be safe. And regardless of whether Sullivan was going to scoop that or not, I think Dunn was easily in there. I think they're counting it as an error, though. Probably could have been a hit.
They do indeed rule it an error. That was probably maybe 10 feet off of the plate. Sullivan had the quickest route to it. Tried to pick it up with that right hand and shuffle it onto first. Just couldn't squeeze the ball. So Dunn reaches first yet again. He's been on base both times tonight. Another check on Dunn at first. He is absolutely a threat to steal. Stole in the first inning and then made it all the way over to third on a throwing error from Ferry. 2 errors already for Cotuit, a team that is pretty solid defensively. .964 fielding percentage, and here is Dunn sliding in with no throw from Ferry. Second stolen base of the night for Dunn, third for the Commodores. Runner in scoring position, nobody down.
I love that from Zach DeLoach. I don't know if it threw Ferry off and that's why he didn't throw the ball or if Dunn was already just going to be safe, but DeLoach made it look like he had a full take sign all the way because that pitch was right down the middle, but he made it look like he was going to swing, drop the bottom hand, went with his legs, kind of cocked his legs back and went through, did the complete swing on his lower half, but didn't actually go through with the bat. And it kind of just throws the catcher off a little bit because he sees that in the back of his mind, and that can, mess with the concentration.
0-1 the count to Zach DeLoach. They check on Dunn this time at second base as Adam Oviedo is playing about 2 feet behind Blake Dunn. Shortstop from TCU. The 0-1 sliced foul, 0-2. Sullivan from Woodland Hills, California, went to Chaminade College Prep. Most of his outings were less than 2 innings during his freshman year with the Golden Bears. Tied for the team lead in saves with 3. He's got an 0-2 count to DeLoach. Delivers. This one is a looping pop fly into foul territory. Making the catch on the run is Christian Robinson. Nice range from the left fielder for the first out. Well over in foul territory.
And he overran it too. How about that sure glove? Overran it, still was able to make a snow cone catch reaching back. Dunn couldn't advance at all because it was hit into left field, so quite the catch is made.
Makes for a 1 down, 1 on situation for Troy Clonch, who worked a walk his first time up on just 4 pitches, so didn't have to do that much work to reach base his first time up. Sullivan exhales, checks on Dunn a couple times, lifts and delivers. Here's a line drive over to Oviedo. It gets past his glove. Brett Becker puts the stop sign on for Blake Dunn, and it's a single for Troy Clonch. Runners on the corners and 1 out.
Troy Clonch, like Blake Dunn, I was mentioning him before, starting to put together more consistency. We know Clonch started 0 for 5 to start his season, then went on a 3 for 7 stretch, then went on an 0 for 5 stretch. So he's kind of trying to find consistency, be less streaky, and he's gotten a couple of hits in the last 2 games, so that'll help.
Trey Cruz steps up with a chance to add to his RBI total. He has 10 on the summer. That's second on the team. Check on Clonch over at first. Exact same situation in the first inning. Dunn was on third, Clonch was on first. And Cruz and Taylor Smith both struck out to end the inning. This is not a strikeout. It's a hard hit line drive into right field. It bounces past Shavers, who takes a horrible run towards it, as Clonch is going to move over to third, and he's getting waved around by Brett Becker. Trey Cruz is into third base. Throw to the plate, not in time. It's a 2-run triple for Trey Cruz. 3-0 Commodores lead.
God, that was a mess. That was a horrible play by Parker Shavers. I don't know what got to him, but he took a terrible route to the baseball, and then he started jogging towards it as it rolled towards the fence. He clearly did not put in enough hustle. Clonch, like you said, you were shocked when he was rounding third because the ball wasn't even at the cutoff man yet. I mean, he was well ahead of both the cutoff throw and the throw to the plate because Shavers just took his sweet time getting to the baseball. I don't think head coach Mike Roberts is going to be all too pleased with him.
We'll see how it's scored, but that's the first triple of the year for the Commodores if it is ruled a triple. It scores Dunn from third and Clonch from first. Trey Cruz now stands 90 feet away with 1 out. First pitch to Taylor Smith is a strike on the inside black. He was a strikeout victim his first time up. A foul ball off of the chest protector of Doug Isham, the home plate umpire, 0-2.
Just seems like Cotuit, who plays such complete games against anybody else, against Falmouth yesterday, they were a mess. They were making mistakes in the field. They were missing the plate, with wild pitches, hitting guys with the bases loaded, kind of shooting themselves in the foot. And then the same thing happens today. I mean, Falmouth hasn't been hasn't been dominant, but they've been picking up on the mistakes that Cotuit has made.
Ball 1 inside. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Changeup at 80 miles an hour got Taylor Smith swinging. Two down.
Yeah, so Smith off to a rough start with a pair of Ks. And that's interesting to see for him, who has been swinging a hot bat.
Jackson Coots takes a strike at the knees, 0-1. So now 3 strikeouts for Sullivan, who's allowed a couple of runs here for the Commodores in the top of the 3rd inning. He's working quickly, spikes an 83-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch in the dirt, 1-1. Coots 7 for 22 entering the night. He was a ground-out victim to lead off the top of the 2nd inning. Commodores working long innings when they're at the plate. They've been doing so for the past few games. Foul ball over towards the first base dugout. 1-2. Coots from Orano, Maine. Rising junior, stands at 6'3", 245. Watches ball 2. Two and two now the count. Sullivan pitching from the windup with Trey Cruz at third base. Ball 3 misses high and away, a curveball that didn't break as much as he wanted. Full count.
Jackson's been quietly one of the most, consistent, one of the best hitters in the Falmouth lineup, getting hits in just about every single game played. Had a big game 2 days ago against Brewster. Big chance here to continue that.
Ball 4 low. Coots jogs on to first base and puts runners on the corners for the 3rd time tonight with 2 down and Tim Tawa up at the plate.
I'm sure he'll take that. Maybe not the hit he was looking for, but he gets on base nonetheless, and doesn't help Trey Cruz at all, who still stands at third. But Tawa, who got a nice hit his first time up on only 1 pitch, now with a chance to double his fortune.
Tawa, rising junior with the Stanford Cardinal. As Ferry calls for time, he looks like he got something in his eye. He takes off the mask and wipes his face. Settles back in that catcher's crouch. Tim Tawa singled on the first pitch he saw in the 2nd inning between short and third. Checking on Jackson Coots at first base is Sean Sullivan.
He's not going to run. He's not.
I would have to
once.
agree with you. I would have to agree.
And that doesn't do anything for Cruz, who's still on third.
Swinging at the first pitch yet again. It's skied foul back towards the parking lot. A lot of action here at Lowell Park. Bleachers on the third base side and the first base side just about full here on a beautiful 4th of July evening. 3-0 lead for the Commodores. The 0-1 is absolutely rocketed, but well fouled towards the Cotuit bullpen. 0-2.
That's another hanging curveball about letter high. We know that Sullivan struggled with that in the first inning where his curveballs kept sitting high. He got it to settle down, kept them low in the next couple of innings. But now maybe as fatigue starts to hit him or just trying to get this elusive final out, he left one right over the heart of the plate.
The 0-2. Fastball upstairs. Tawa batted .253 during his sophomore year out in Palo Alto. 55 hits, 10 doubles, 8 home runs. A native of West Lynn, Oregon. Brother and father were in town a couple of days ago. This ball 2 misses outside.
That was a down year for him at Stanford. I mean, those numbers are impressive. Maybe the average a bit lower than you'd expect. But his freshman year, .296 average, 18 doubles, 7 home runs.
Right. The 2-2. Just got a piece of it with the head of the bat to stay alive.
He's one of those just incredibly talented ball players where even if he puts up, a rough year numbers-wise, he's still going to be a top draft prospect coming up next year. And given all the accolades he won in the state of Oregon for just about every sport imaginable, that's believable.
2017 Gatorade Player of the Year in baseball, his senior year of high school. The 2-2 from Sullivan. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Beautiful slider that breaks outside. And Tawa, a strikeout victim, his 2nd time up. 4th K of the evening for Sullivan, but the Doors add 2 more thanks to a 2 RBI triple off the bat of Trey Cruz. Commodores move their lead to 3-0 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Sam Strickland trying to get his first win of the summer. He's got a 3-0 lead to work with and needs to get through a few more innings if he wants to move his 2019 summer record to 1-1. He was tabbed with the loss against Harwich, game 2 of a doubleheader on Father's Day. Pitched 4 innings, gave up only 2 earned runs, walked none, and struck out 1. Fires a first pitch to Adam Oviedo that's nubbed foul. 0-1 the count. Oviedo with a 229 average this summer. He's been struggling lately at the plate. Hitless in his last 3 games played and was 0 for 2 last night. Strickland from the windup delivers high. 1-1.
You know how we've been referencing Oviedo as going to TCU?
Yeah.
That's going to change.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I just realized that. He announced around June 18th it was that he entered the transfer portal.
The 1-1 chopped over towards first base. It leaks foul. 1-1.
But he'll be heading to Oral Roberts University come the fall. Down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was probably going to lose his starting spot at TCU. They had a shortstop who was banged up this past year, which is why Oviedo was able to start at short. But that shortstop, Hunter Wolf, will be coming on in. They've got a heralded freshman that they really like who's coming on in. So Oviedo's spot pretty much lost, and he'll be moving on.
He's got a 1-2 count to Strickland. Dying off speed that he lays off to make it 2-2. So a recent announcement that he was transferring.
Mid Cape League season,
wow.
Yes. Like Franco Aleman.
He had a 291 average in his sophomore year at TCU. He ropes this one into center field. It just lands on the outfield grass well in front of Blake Dunn, so a leadoff single to start the bottom of the 3rd for Adam Oviedo, who breaks that hitless streak.
Yeah, he may have been hitless for a while. He may have lost his spot at TCU, but doesn't mean he's any less talented. That was a fantastic 2-strike pitch from Strickland. Didn't let Oviedo get extended too much. Hit him on the inside part of the barrel. Oviedo still able to push it right back out into center field, just showing off the strength and showing off the the smart swing that he had on such an inside pitch.
Just the second hit of the night for Cotuit. First hit came off the bat of Nick Gonzalez, who steps in for his second AB, and he slices one foul. That one hops into the Cotuit bullpen. Gonzalez made it all the way over to third base in inning number 1, but he was left stranded. Parker Shaver struck out looking to end the bottom of the first inning. Troy Clonch sets up outside. It's a fastball that he just gets a piece of, but it goes back behind the plate and towards the man on deck and Joey Loperfido. 0-2 the count.
That was sick. The rolling ball he kicked up to himself and caught behind his back.
And then he immediately tossed it to the bat boy.
Yeah, as
Didn't
if
even break stride.
As if he's done it like a million times.
Loperfido worked a walk his first time up. He'll be up at the plate in this half inning. Strickland, 1 K on the evening and 1 walk. Did he go? He did not, says first base umpire John DiGirolamo is his last name. I screwed it up the first time.
Oh, really?
It's D-G.
So he's
Rolamo.
John. He's John.
He's John, yeah.
Okay.
We'll call him John.
Well, the entire dugout yelled out at the same time. He did, which is kind of funny. They disagree.
1-2 the count to the leadoff man, Gonzalez. This one over towards Cantrell. Could be 2. Quick throw onto Cruz, onto first. He's safe. Trey Cruz and Hayden Cantrell, arms outstretched, heads on their hands. They can't believe it. Thought it was a bang-bang double play. But John disagrees. One down and a man on first.
I thought so, too. I mean, usually those bang-bang plays, it takes a second for the foot to fall on the bag. Usually the glove gets squeezed first, and I thought that's exactly what happened. Coots with a nice stretch. Everything was perfect by the doors, but, hey, that's why Gonzalez is batting leadoff. He's got some speed, is able to leg it out, and there's still less than 2 outs for Cotuit, so they're by no means down for the count in this inning.
4-6 fielder's choice. Nice curveball. Strike number 1 to Loperfido. Worked a full count his first time up and then was walked. Only free pass issued tonight for Sam Strickland. Strickland from the stretch. Kicks his right leg and delivers. Gonzalez is going. Here's a hard hit ball to center field. Dunn has the range, moves to his right, and makes the catch. Jogging back to first is Gonzalez, 2 down.
Dunn is just so fast. I mean, he made He made even that one look easy. He caught it, had a second as well to camp under it too. Such long strides, really quick. Caught it in plenty of time, and that's another ball that's towards the gap. And I mean, most other center fielders would maybe have to make a special play for it, but he makes it look like a can of corn.
Going back to that great play he made with 1 down in the second inning, made the catch practically at the wall, and I'm just impressed with how fast he can move while looking up at the ball. You know, he just has such spatial awareness. First time Sam Strickland has checked on a runner. He goes over to Coots at first base to make sure Gonzalez is staying put. Gonzalez a perfect 5 for 5 on the summer in stolen base attempts. Christian Robinson flew out to right his first time up. Claunch setting up outside. Nice fastball on the outside part of the plate, 0-1. Robinson plays at Stanford, a teammate of Tim Tawa's, went to Vieira High School. His brother Patrick plays baseball at Harvard. Here's a ground ball over to Cantrell. He'll shuffle it on to Trey Cruz for the 3rd out. So the Commodores don't get the double play, but they get out of the inning unscathed. Just 1 hit for Cotuit. No runs, no errors, and 1 left on base. We head to the top of the 4th. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Welcome back to Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. Danny LaRose here for you with David Korzanowski. But first, we're going to send it over to Katie Florio, the 3rd member of our broadcast team, our sideline reporter, to let us know what Cotuit does special on this special day, the 4th of July.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. A beautiful, hot 4th of July here. I was talking with Cotuit's broadcaster earlier, and Sam Niederman, and he was telling me all about the annual 4th of July parade here. It's a huge tradition. Everyone from the Cape comes to this area to take part in it. The streets are just lined up all day long, but then after the parade, there's a big field day here. There's games, activities, even a hitting competition. So it's really cool to see how they've made it a point to establish such a fun tradition and celebrate this day.
Thank you so much, Katie. So, of course, a family-friendly, league like the Cape Cod League is going to have the parades. They're going to have everything for the kids and the field day as well right here at Lowell Park. And then they cleaned everything up just in time for the 5 p.m. first pitch. So that is the festivities that they showed off today. Right now, the only thing that would tell you that it's 4th of July maybe would be the flags all around on the outfield fences and also over near the first base bleachers, but otherwise pretty special day for Cotuit. They have their players march in the parade, just like out in Orleans. They have their Orleans parade. The players are on a float. Chatham, we know, has a parade. I'm pretty sure their players probably go on a float. Seems like Falmouth is the only one missing out.
Yeah, I think it's because of that short Main Street in Falmouth. Because if you're going down the main road in Falmouth, which is Route 28, really the only place that's kind of like the center of town with all the storefronts that would work for a parade is like this stretch of like a half mile.
First pitch to Austin Langworthy comes at 69 miles an hour. It was a breaking ball to the lefty from the University of Florida. He's ahead 1-0. He flew out on a long fly ball his first time up to right field. Ball number 2 misses outside. Langworthy trying to break out of a tough skid to start the season. And he's got a new pitcher up against him as well.
Christopher Holcomb from Tulane, lefty, stands at 6'3".
Very lanky guy, now fires a slow fastball at only 86 at the knees.
From not too far away, Marston Mills went to Barnstable High School.
From the windup, kicks the glove back over his neck. This one is boomed out to right center field, and again, getting over in time to make the grab. This time is Hill, the center fielder. That one had a lot less carry to it, but was just as hardly struck.
That's a good sign for Langworthy, right?
Yeah.
He's turning those strikeouts into hard contact, and if he keeps it up, they will drop. They'll start to, carry over the fence if he gets a little favorable wind, as the flag out in left center field is not moving at all. No wind here on this July 4th evening, but some good signs for Langworthy at the plate, no question.
There have been a lot of fly balls that have died. Langworthy's was one of them. Here's a pop fly from Hayden Cantrell towards the right side. Calling for it and making the grab is Joey Loperfido. So one pitch to Cantrell, and he's the second out of the inning.
Well, working quickly is Holcomb. Holcomb has made a handful of appearances this summer. This is now number 6. He's only made one start. He's got a 2.45 ERA this summer and a 1-0 record. His last time out was just a third of an inning against Hyannis. He allowed 1 earned run.
Big, lanky left-hander who throws that glove back over his neck once again. First pitch swinging is done, and that rattles the mask of the catcher, Ferry. Holcomb with a cool look. Is he rocking rec specs?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's rocking the white rec specs, and he's got the long, flowing blonde hair going down just at the top of his shoulders. That is a unique look.
I like it.
I dig
like
it,
it. I
too.
think it works with the jerseys as well. He's got the pinstripes, do the Kettleers with the maroon lettering, and that maroon hat with the C on it.
The old English C.
I was looking for the right phrase to describe it, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's like not your normal C.
You got to do calligraphy to make it.
Right.
But he's got the new age look with the old school pinstripes. Here's the 0-1 to Blake. And it's a fastball on the outside corner. So far, so good for Holcomb. He's been hitting the strike zone frequently.
Yeah, and that's what he does. 5 strikeouts this summer. 5 walks, so he struggled a little bit with control recently. Had 2 walks against Hyannis.
Looking for his 6th strikeout of the summer on the 0-2. But it misses way outside as Ferry couldn't even corral the baseball. It settled back onto the screen behind us.
And Blake Dunn right now, maybe the player of the game so far. Reached base both times and scored a run. Stolen 2 bases, perhaps most notably.
Holcomb from the windup on the third base side of the rubber. Rocks and fires a 1-2. Fastball down low. Checking his swing was done. And he went around. Are you kidding me? They say he went around, says our first base umpire, Joe.
John,
sorry. John. That's, wow, okay. Never mind. We're done. We're done with the 4th inning. It ends in routine fashion. Down go the Doors, 1-2-3. We'll go to the home half of the 4th, 3-0 Falmouth.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30 plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Welcome back to Barnstable, Cotuit, right here in Cotuit, Massachusetts. We're trying to figure out the exact geography of Cotuit, as Marston Mills, Barnstable, Cotuit is all giving us, trouble.
I have a pretty good understanding of geography on the Cape.
Okay.
I'm a native of Massachusetts. I've been coming to the Cape for a while now. But Barnstable always throws me for a loop. Barnstable is both a county and a town. there are like villages within Barnstable that are their own distinct towns with zip codes and street addresses, and a couple of them are Cotuit and Marston Mills. That's the grasp I think I've gathered.
First pitch swinging is Casey Schmidt. He hits a ground ball right at Trey Cruz. Not Trey Cruz. That's Tim Tawa over there at shortstop. No, it is Trey Cruz. He's jumped in there. He was DHing to start the game, and now he's jumping in there. So it's Cruz making the play and getting the out at first.
Cruz makes the out. He's made a couple outs over at shortstop as Hayden Cantrell threw to him 2 times last half inning.
I mixed that up completely. Why did I think Cruz was DHing? Smith is DHing right after Cruz. This whole Barnstable Cotuit mess has just flustered my brain.
We got it sorted out, though.
Yeah. It's nothing like just Falmouth, nice and easy. 0-1 is the count. Here's the pitch, popped up in the air towards the left side. This is Chavers, who is at the plate as that one goes well foul.
So if I was a normal person, I would let things go, and I wouldn't feel the need to beat it into the ground. But I'm not a normal person, and I hang on to things until I have them fully fleshed out.
Okay.
So I have Barnstable's Wikipedia page up.
Here we go.
It's comprised of several villages.
Lefty Strickland with a curveball to the lefty Chavers. He chops it off the bag and off the glove of Jackson Coots. Chavers is going to try to stretch it into 2, and he is going to get there standing as the ball just trickled further and further up the line in foul ground on the first base side, and that's going to be a double for Chavers.
And it would have been a highlight reel play for Coots. He had to move to his left quickly, and he got there in time. He squeezed the glove a little bit too early, and I think he was just a little bit behind it as it went off the tip of his glove. But Shavers stretches it into 2 and puts a runner in scoring position.
So Cotuit's in business in the 4th. They still have yet to score a run. Only scored 1 run in all of yesterday's game. It came in the 2nd inning, so it's been a while since Cotuit has been able to put a runner home. First pitch swinging is Matthew Mervis. He clocks it out into center field. That one's going to fall for a hit. Charging it is done. The throw comes into the plate. Not in time. Couldn't be squeezed by Smith as it trickles behind, and advancing to second is Mervis. Samuel Strickland starting to get hit around. He's allowed the game's first run for Cotuit.
And these were both really close plays. Shavers is double to get on into scoring position. And then Mervis with a single out to center field. And Dunn also has a really good arm. He threw that into Clonch, and it was a pretty good throw. A little bit up the line, but Clonch, again, he squeezed a little bit too early, didn't have the ball in his glove. I think he was thinking tag before he fully watched the ball into his glove. Tried to rotate to his left to catch Shavers, who dodged the tag and scored the run. And with that, Mervis moves over to second base, so it's a single advancing on the throw. And there is 1 error tabbed to the Commodores.
Curveball swinging again on the first pitch is Sam Ferry. He fouls it back. I chucked it up as an E2 because, that was a great throw, and it wasn't squeezed by Smith. But, hey, for all we know, they charged it to Dunn because it was a little bit up the third base line. Regardless of that, 3-1 in favor of the Doors after back-to-back hits.
And a good chance for Ferry, who made really hard contact his first time up in the 2nd, to take advantage as Cotuit's finding their offensive rhythm here in the 4th.
Ferry flew out to center his first time up. Swings at this one, grounds it towards the left side. Tawa is there. Running on to third is Mervis. Boy, was that a risk. He would have been dead to rights if Tawa decided to chase him down. Instead, Tim decides to go with a sure out, gets the out at first base for the 2nd out of the inning, and Mervis luckily advances to third.
Yeah, and he's not known for his speed either. Designated hitting tonight. He's kind of a power guy. Big frame, so it's not like he was getting over to third in a huge hurry, as Tawa fielded it basically right behind Mervis.
Yeah.
And just decided to go to first.
He hesitated for a second, was about to slap the tag, but said, hey, it's just the 2nd out, so we'll be fine. Ground ball, this again to Tawa. That one is nubbed much more slowly on the infield grass. Tawa makes the play. Back-to-back 5-3 putouts on back-to-back pitches, limits the damage to 1. But Cotuit scores 1 run on 2 hits. 1 error charged against the Doors, and 1 runner left on base. To the top of the 5th we go. 3-1 in favor of Falmouth.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20 plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Back in action here in Cotuit. To the top of the 5th inning we go. Danny LaRose joined alongside David Korzanowski on this Independence Day in Massachusetts. And we've gotten our record-setting 4th straight game in on the 2019 summer.
True. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. And luckily for everyone in Massachusetts and on Cape Cod, it's a sunny day on the 4th. So everybody can barbecue. They can enjoy America's pastime on America's birthday.
I need a hot dog now.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of hungry.
You need to eat a hot dog in a Chevy while listening to
country
and watching a baseball game. Zach DeLoach is going to lead off for the Doors. It's the heart of the order coming up for Falmouth. DeLoach followed by Clonch, followed by Cruz. Still up against Christopher Holcomb, the lefty from Tulane. First pitch from him. 66, is that right? That seems a little slow.
It does seem a little slow, but that off-speed seems pretty lethal from Holcomb, who worked very efficiently during his first inning on the mound. 1-2-3, and the first 1-2-3 inning worked by Cotuit pitching.
It was called a ball, and now ball number 2 settles in the dirt to Zach DeLoach, so he's already got a friendly hitter's count. 2 balls to no strikes to the Texas A&M Aggie. DeLoach has a sacrifice fly and a fly out to left. 2-0. Grounded right back into his front leg.
Holcomb is a guy who's moved around quite a bit. I mean, we know we try to track the transfers, and we still miss some now and then, but Holcomb's a guy who's spent time at 3 different colleges. Started at Alabama, then went to the State College of Florida. That's a JUCO. Then went back to D1 at Tulane. He's going to be a junior next year with the Green Waves.
Yeah, that whole transfer thing, I mean, 3 different schools in 3 years has got to be exhausting. Wearing all those different jerseys. Strike just paints the outside corner 2-2.
Well, something that I get curious about with guys who move around so much, even a guy like Jackson Greer, who's been on 3 different teams in the Cape League.
Yeah.
The biggest question I have is what does it do for like your relationship with your teammates?
Yeah.
Because you're so quickly, it's like when you move around schools a lot as a kid. Like some kids do that.
2-2 breaking ball swung on and missed. DeLoach goes down on strikes for the first time tonight. That was some money from Holcomb.
Yeah, it looked good. But I'm just curious, like, is he still close with his guys from Alabama?
Yeah.
Like, does he still talk to his buddies from State College of Florida?
Does Jackson Greer, when he's going up to face Harwich, say, like, hey, man?
Does he even bother introducing himself because he knows he's going to be cut and picked up by another team in the next week?
Well, the thing about JUCO is I'm sure those teams, you know, they bond over their desire to get out of JUCO. So they all know that they're there for 1 year and they're just ready to go, and that's how they bond. Here's a swing and a club from Troy Clonch as the ground ball goes right into the awaiting glove of the shortstop Oviedo. His easy throw onto first makes it 2 up, 2 down. So Trey Cruz, also a shortstop like Oviedo, will do his hitting. He's 1 for 2, and that second time around was a big one for Trey. 2 RBIs on a triple. Those are the runs of record for Falmouth as well, leading 3-1. Cruz batting from the right side against the lefty. Switch hitter watches a curveball settle at the knees.
And he's been really good lately. I mean, he had a slump less than a week ago, was 0 for 15.
And he drives this one into left center field. That's down for a base hit. So Trey Cruz is definitely out of that slump with a triple and now a very hard struck single.
And he broke out of that slump in a huge offensive game for the Commodores in a 3 for 4 night against Brewster. That was in the 12-7 win over the Whitecaps a couple nights ago. He had 2 RBIs. And then last night, he was 1 for 3 at the plate. Tonight, he's 2 for 3.
He has now put together a nice little 3-game hitting streak. Yesterday, had an RBI as well on a bloop single, one of 2 RBI hits for Falmouth, despite scoring 6 runs. Check over on first, but he's not there. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up is Austin Maisel, not in the lineup today. He was the other guy with an RBI hit last night. He has been red hot, batting an even .500.
Yeah.
And Jeff Trundy deciding to give him the night off after he got to play in back-to-back games. Taylor Smith, the hitter, still waiting the first pitch. Cruz fakes going, and it's a ball upstairs, as looking him back was Ferry. Taylor Smith 0 for 2, a looking strikeout followed by a swinging strikeout. Struck out a lot his first game played. Went 1 for 5 that day. 4 Ks, but also a home run. Hit a grand slam in his last game played. Now ranks as second on the team in home runs despite playing in 3 games.
Little 3-game hit streak, 3 extra base hits, 2 home runs. It's called efficiency.
Yeah, step aside Austin Maisel,
Right.
Taylor Smith. 1-0 still has to wait as they are looking back Cruz multiple times. I mean, I can't blame him.
It's got to be a coaching decision, right? It's got to be Mike Roberts or someone, one of the assistant coaches, telling Cotuit pitchers to check on those runners multiple times. Try to keep them closer so that primary lead is a little bit closer to the bag.
The 1-0 finally comes home. Cruz again fakes running with that little stutter step and taking 2 quick sprints towards second base. Stops short, comes back, and watches a ball skip in the dirt.
And that can be really distracting for a lefty because he's facing first base.
Right.
So he's looking at Loperfido and Cruz. And even when he's focused on home during his delivery, he can see Cruz in his peripheral vision. You see that quick stutter step and fake like he's going as he's delivering the baseball.
Ball 3 misses upstairs, went back to the fastball and missed outside and up. So it's quickly 3-0 to Taylor Smith as Jackson Coates awaits on deck with a chance for 2 runners on.
And I don't think it's any coincidence that the first base runner allowed by Holcomb is when he's finally having trouble missing the zone. I think Cruz is doing a great job at first base, getting him a little bit rattled.
Another check over on Cruz, who has not stolen, not attempted to steal yet in this inning, despite all those, fakes. Hasn't attempted to steal yet on the game because his last time up, he ended up on third. 3-0. Upstairs, ball 4. Taylor Smith works himself a 4-pitch walk, and Jackson Coates up to the plate with a chance with 2 ducks on the pond.
First free pass issued by Holcomb. He had retired the first 5 in a row that he saw. Trey Cruz singles. Then he plays a little bit of mind games over at first, and Holcomb fires 4 straight balls. Little 2-out rally brewing for the Doors here in the 5th.
Jackson had a 5-game hitting streak to start his summer. Went 0 for 3 against Bourne earlier in the week. Slightly open stance from the Rhode Island Ram as a pickoff move over into center field goes errant, but right there in plenty of time is Hill to back it up, so Trey had no chance to try to take third.
Well, and Hill also Cruz didn't realize that had gone into center field until a little bit too late. Dashed for third quickly, but then made his way back to second base. He knew he wouldn't have had a chance.
Jackson Coates, the rising junior at the University of Rhode Island. Big guy, 6'3", 235 against another 6'3" lefty. The pitch from Holcomb, outside, great block made by Ferry behind the plate. That one was dead set on going to the backstop.
I've seen a lot of solid defensive catchers as far as blocking balls. I think last night Pasek did a good job, especially in the first 6 innings of that game, ran into a little bit of trouble later. But he did a really good job keeping the ball in front of him. We've seen a couple catchers for the Commodores who've done similar Matt Nelson did a good job last night. Claunch tonight. Smith has done well.
The pitch, ground ball right side. That one will stay fair and playable at first base for Loperfido. He makes a late flip to Holcomb covering the bag, and they just barely get Jackson Coots in time. So a little bit of miscommunication, but all's well that ends well for the Cotuit Kettleers. 3-1 on the putout as Falmouth scores no runs on one hit, no runners, and strand a couple on the base paths. We go to the bottom of the fifth. It's 3-1 Doors.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
To the home fifth we go in Cotuit, Massachusetts. The Kettleers trailing the Commodores 3-1. Sam Strickland back out on the bump for now a 5th inning of work. Coach Mike Landry and Coach Trundy trying to secure him a victory in his final appearance as a Door. He's thrown a lot of pitches so far, but he has the win in his back pocket if he can get through this inning. First pitch he throws a breaking ball in the outside corner called a strike to Adam Oviedo.
Oviedo a single his first time up. Got past Cruz and Tawa on the left side of the infield. Broke that hitless streak. He hadn't had a hit in his previous 3 games played.
Here's the 0-1 to the right-handed shortstop. It's fouled away towards the right side over the Falmouth dugout. Quickly 0-2.
And Strickland's looked good tonight. I mean, he threw a lot of pitches in the first inning. Kind of had trouble finding the zone, but faced just 3 batters in the second, 4 batters in the third, 5 in the fourth.
He's ahead 0-2 on Oviedo. This would be a great inning to work quickly. The pitch. Fastball swung on and missed. Strike 3. Only takes him 3 pitches to set down Adam Oviedo, and he's off to a rocking start in the 5th. 1 up, 1 down.
Second strikeout of the night for Strickland. First was looking to Parker Shavers in the first. He's got kind of a mean delivery, Danny. He has that slow rock in the windup. And something I noticed is with that left hand, he brings it way down. I mean, if you look at how far down he brings that arm, gives him a lot of leverage to come around and snap the fastball, which he did there.
Yeah, it's one of those really tough to find the baseball lefty moves as a strike is fired in on the inside corner of Nick Gonzalez. It reminds me of CC Sabathia, always so good at hiding the baseball,
right,
because he kind of corks his upper body back, uses his lower body to hide it, lifts the leg a lot, and then comes home with those long arms. Here's a fly ball into deep center field. Dunn is back. He's at the track, and he will make the grab in dead central. Nick Gonzalez gave that one a ride, but he's set down nonetheless.
Trust your defense, right?
Yeah.
Leadoff man Nick Gonzalez does not have a home run this season. That was one of his harder hit balls that we've seen. Probably one of his harder hit balls this summer. Went maybe 350, 360. Dunn was there in a hurry, made the catch on the run. But Strickland looking the best he has all night here in the 5th.
It's been a quick 5th inning so far. The only other inning he worked 1, 2, 3 was the second, trying to mimic that right here. Lefty-lefty matchup against Loperfido, the first baseman. He swings, grounds it over to his counterpart, Jackson Coots, chip on to first, and Strickland just barely gets the bag as he slipped, and Loperfido was hitting the first base bag right as Strickland got there. A very close finish, but it's an out call anyway, and it's a 1-2-3 inning worked by the Doors. If that's it for Sam Strickland, he's in line for the win, and he was pretty effective. We'll head to the top of the 6th inning 3-1 Doors.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
3-1 Commodores as we enter the top of the 6th inning. Falmouth with 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error. Cotuit, 1 run, 4 hits, 2 errors. Another kind of slow-moving game between these two teams. I mean, yesterday was only 6-1. Cotuit didn't really get too many hits, but it took over 3 hours, and that's long for a Cape League game. Today, kind of slowly moving as well. We're only through 5 at this point, and we're about an hour 45 into the ball game.
Pace is picking up for sure.
Yeah.
I think it was those first couple innings that really dragged along.
First pitch to the righty, Tim Tawa, grounded over towards third base, and he will start this inning by grounding out to his counterpart on the corner. It's a 5-3 putout to kick us off.
Because the pitchers have gotten better, Danny. Holcomb has been dealing on the mound. He's only allowed 2 base runners, a hit and a walk, 2 strikeouts. He's retired now 7 of the 9 batters he's seen. And Strickland really finding his stuff in the 5th. 1-2-3 inning worked. And also the batters are swinging earlier here, putting the ball in play.
Austin Langworthy will watch ball 1 sit low. Langworthy 0 for 2 on 2 absolute bullets.
Yeah.
He demolished a pitch in the 2nd inning that nearly went over the right field wall but was caught right at the fence as he cracks that one into center field, and that will fall for a hit just out of the jumping Adam Oviedo. Austin Langworthy is on. That's hits in back-to-back games. I think he's starting to find his stroke.
And for a split second, I thought he was going to get robbed of a 3rd possible hit because Oviedo was there in a hurry in shallow left center field. Made a good leap on it, was just over his outstretched glove. Langworthy moves to 1 for 3. Very well could be 2 for 3 or even 3 for 3. But I'm sure he's much happier with his ABs as of late.
Yeah. Walking away from those first 2, he was probably thinking just got to catch a break. This time he does on a bloop hit. Right-hander Hayden Cantrell batted from the left side his first time up. Right side his last time up. He's 1 for 3 so far. Hayden, who was the team leader in batting average before Austin Maisel burst onto the scene. That was earlier this week. Chops this one right back to short. This could be 2. Flip onto second for 1. On to first. Not in time. Hayden beats it out. It'll be a fielder's choice, and there are 2 outs.
Yeah, I had a feeling Hayden Cantrell was going to beat that one out as soon as it was off the bat. Slow-moving ground ball over to short. Good transfer. I mean, Cotuit's defense did everything right. Cantrell just with too much speed.
Blake Dunn, the Western Michigan Bronco, will try to row this boat to shore as there are 2 outs and a runner on first base. Dunn with a chance to try to extend the inning. He's 1 for 3. Reached base his first 2 times up, first with a single, then reached on an error, but probably should have been ruled a single. Check over on first base. That play was when Dunn hit a slow roller halfway between the mound and the home plate up the third base line. Blake was going to be safe on the play most likely. Sullivan came off the mound and dropped the ball right after he scooped it up. He shows bunt, pushes it up the first base side. This could be trouble, running down to first, and he is there well before the throw. Blake Dunn's speed continues to impress as he has legged out a 2-out bunt hit and pushes Cantrell into scoring position.
It's just a beautiful bunt. Now 2 for 4 on the day, and he scored a run after reaching on an error in the third. I'm going to have a bold call here. I think you might see a double steal.
Ooh, yeah, that would be fun, because look over at third base. Playing way off the bag. Schmidt is pretty far away from the line, so it could be tough getting over there, and I think Holcomb is thinking the same thing as he looks back Cantrell.
I mean, these are 2 of the fastest guys on the team, if not the fastest. Cantrell, 9 for 10 on the year in stolen bases. Dunn added a couple stolen bases today. He's 8 for 10.
They're neck and neck in the team lead. First pitch to Zach DeLoach, ground ball first base side, but foul. David, it feels like that Brewster game was a turning point for the Commodores offense.
Absolutely.
They exploded for 12 runs and 19 hits, and you were thinking, is this, just because the Brewster pitching was bad, or is this going to stick around? But Austin Langworthy is swinging a red-hot bat. You look at, Troy Claunch, who's starting to put together more consistency with hits in just about every game in the past couple days. Blake Dunn doing the same exact thing like Claunch, starting to get more consistency. So this is a very good sign for Falmouth, who we know this time last week could not buy a run even when they had the bases loaded.
So before that Brewster game, Commodores had scored 7 runs in their previous 3 games. They did beat Bourne 3-0, but the bats weren't great in that game either. They had 19 hits against Brewster, 10 hits last night against Cotuit, 7 tonight.
Line drive into center field. That one's going to fall for a hit. Cantrell is going to hold up at third as he nearly ran through the stop sign. And good job to catch himself in time, because he would have been out by a mile. Fantastic throw from the center fielder Hill, but that will make it back-to-back hits for the Doors and bases loaded.
Bases juiced for Claunch with 2 down. As Holcomb running into a little bit of trouble in his 3rd full inning of work. Scouting report is out on Holcomb, and the second time through the order, he's facing a little bit more trouble. Claunch, as you mentioned, swinging a hot bat, lately singled in the 3rd and scored.
Zach DeLoach stays red hot after that single puts him on first base. He has hits in 5 straight. Maybe even more than that. I might be misremembering, actually. Nonetheless, bases are loaded with 2 outs for the Doors. Fastball at the knees for strike 1. Yes, it is 5 straight for Zach DeLoach. So he's got a hitting streak going, along with, who else had a hitting streak on board? Cantrell with 1, I believe.
Cruz with 3.
Cruz with 3. Claunch now has hits in back-to-back games. He's down 0-1. From the stretch still is Holcomb with the glove at his belt. Comes home, curveball popped up into shallow left field. Over, camping under it, and making the easy catch is Christian Robinson, and Holcomb manages to work out of the jam. The Doors score no runs on 3 hits, no errors against Cotuit, and they strand the bases loaded. It seems like we say that a lot, but lately it hasn't mattered as Falmouth has still been scoring. It's 3-1 in favor of the Doors as we head to the home 6th.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Welcome back to Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. We begin the bottom of the 6th inning. The Falmouth Commodores leading the hometown Kettleers by a score of 3-1. Look at that. Still Sam Strickland on the bump.
I dig it. He's retired 5 straight. In 5 innings of work, he's given up 4 hits, 1 earned run, walked 1, and struck out 2. And I thought he looked the best he has all night in the 5th inning. Trying to ride him a little bit more because it's his last start of the summer.
He's been great. First pitch swinging, ground ball towards third, and Aubrey Major, the pinch hitter, is retired on only 1 pitch. He comes in for Christian Robinson, who recorded the final out of the previous inning, but he doesn't do much in the pinch hitting role.
Yeah, Major swings at the first pitch he sees, trying to crack the code against Strickland, and a strategic move by Coach Mike Roberts. But quick outs are definitely going to help Strickland in this case, and he got a couple of them in the 5th. Had a quick strikeout to Oviedo on 3 pitches. Gonzalez swung on the 2nd pitch, and Loperfido was out quickly.
Just looks like he's so locked in right now. Every single one of his pitches is right where he wants it to be.
Yeah.
That fastball is poked into not even center field. It lands behind the second base bag. Cantrell fields it on a backhand, throws it over to first. That's 2 pitches and 2 groundouts.
Let's go. I mean, this feels great for the Commodores right now. Even though they left the bases loaded in the top of the 6th inning, feels like everything's going their way. They have a 3-1 lead and 9-4 advantage in hits, and right now Strickland 2 pitches and 2 outs after trying to stretch this outing, and he is about to finish the 6th inning if he keeps it up.
That looked like it was about to be a bloop hit into center, but it died, and Cantrell was there to make the play. First pitch taken this time by Parker Chavers, a curveball that just sits a little bit high.
Yeah, and Strickland with an extra look, and the jaw sort of dropped. He's not a guy who shows a lot of emotion either, but he definitely didn't like that call.
1-0, another curveball, same exact spot, nothing doing. So at least it's consistent, although it is a really good pitch.
Yeah, just try to go low fastball here. If Shavers swings, he's likely grounding it.
2-0, it is a fastball. It's lined towards short. There is Trey Cruz. He fields it on 1 hop. Throw to first, and how about that? Samuel Strickland doesn't even use 10 pitches to get out of the 6th inning. He uses 5. Incredible for Strickland in these latest 2 innings of work. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings, and we go to the top of the 7th inning. Falmouth in the lead, 3-1.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Top 7 at Lowell Park. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. Commodores 3 innings away from getting their 3rd straight win behind a great performance by Sam Strickland. And on the mound for his 4th inning of work is Christopher Holcomb.
Yeah, Christopher Holcomb has been fantastic ever since he entered the game. Ran into trouble in the 6th inning and still was able to get out of the jam. So that gives some more confidence with Mike Roberts to stick with his big lefty, who previous to that was shoving.
Commodores sent 6 to the plate in the 6th inning. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 due up for the doors here in inning number 7. Trey Cruz, Taylor Smith, and Jackson Coots. Cruz, a switch hitter, singled his last time up. And he had a single off of Holcomb in the 5th. Swings at the first pitch. Pops up into foul territory. Behind us, right by the bag toss. Cotuit and Lowell Park is bumping tonight.
It's a spot
A lot
to
of
be.
fans, a lot of traffic. I mean, there's a lot of people out and about. Big line at the food shack as another foul ball lands out of play, 0-2.
Who needs the beach when you've got free baseball?
Yeah, it's just a great vibe here. I mean, we heard about it earlier with Katie's hit on the Family Fun Day. Mike Roberts threw, I don't want to call it batting practice, but he threw in that hitting contest for the fans. And the Cotuit parade ending, and then fans from all over town and the Cape coming to Lowell Park earlier today. Third straight foul ball. Third straight one out of play, and the count stays 0-2.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that it's nice and close to Falmouth, so Falmouth fans can come along as well and watch the action from Lowell Park. Didn't have to get caught in too much traffic either.
Yeah, we got lucky. I mean, we left at, 2:15, and we're here in 15, 20 minutes. 0-2 the count to the switch hitting Trey Cruz. The lefty Holcomb delivers. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 86-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside black, and Cruz goes down on 4 pitches.
And he's frustrated, and rightfully so. He got some good pitches to hit. He just wasn't able to line them up perfectly. Fouled off a couple really good pitches. He knew it right after he swung that he was just, a half a second or a split of an inch, close to driving it into a gap. Just missed out on a couple of those. So Holcomb getting away with throwing juicy pitches to Cruz, who just was unable to cork them.
Strike 1, which Smith swings through, and Sam Ferry had quite the position to receive that pitch. He had his right leg totally outstretched. He was practically sitting down. He does it again.
What?
Second pitch fouled away. It's almost like he's in a split. He's got his left leg bent with his heel right back by his backside, and then that right leg has just been completely level with the ground. Setting up for the low pitch.
The strength in your left leg to just push your body weight up is kind of impressive, too.
This time he sets up a little bit higher. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. It's dropped. Ferry picks it up and lofts it over to first. 2 up, 2 down, and 2 strikeouts.
Kind of feels like both teams are waiting to go get their hot dogs and go watch the fireworks right now. They're really swinging at just about every pitch. I mean, Holcomb and Strickland wasting no time getting outs because they're getting a lot of first pitch swings, and they're throwing a lot of good pitches, but both teams are not able to hit them. If anything, they're slow rollers on the infield like we saw from Cotuit, or with Falmouth right now, they're just coming up empty. So nothing really going on for the offenses right now, despite the pitchers not looking they're not looking shut down by any stretch.
Ball 1 low and away to Jackson Coots. Sam Strickland has been lethal in innings 4 through 6, really getting the pace going in this game. Holcomb had a little bit of trouble in the 6th, but that was about it. Big swing from Coots, who comes up empty, 1-1. 3 singles for the Doors in the top of inning number 6, but they leave the bases loaded with Cantrell at third, Dunn at second, and Deloach at first. Holcomb from the windup. Fastball outside.
I wonder what the strategy is, like the advantages of just going full split like Ferry is doing behind the plate. Because, I mean, he can. There's nobody on base. It's not like he's got to pop and throw on a steal.
Low. Ball 3. Coots worked a walk in the 3rd inning. Other than that, he's had 2 soft groundouts. He's only been hitless in 1 of the 7 games he's played this year. Had a multi-hit game his last time out against Bourne, the 3-1. Taken at the knees and inside. It's the second walk drawn by Jackson Coots.
That's something we've seen from the Falmouth hitters, even when they're not getting hits in this past week where their offense has been red hot. Even when they're not getting hits, they're still reaching base. I mean, Blake Dunn in the Brewster game, he went 0 for. He was one of the very few guys to go 0 for, but he still had an RBI, still reached base on walks. Jackson doing the same thing right here. 2 walks in 4 plate appearances. And, if the game were to end right now, he'd go down as no hits, but still very quality at bats.
So Tim Tawa up with 2 outs and a man on. Off speed, about ankle high. To the third baseman, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Singled in the second, struck out and grounded out. Holcomb from the stretch with Jackson Coots on first base. High fastball, 1-1. 2-0, excuse me. Holcomb adjusting his belt buckle, swiping the dirt off of the mound. He sets up on the far left side of the rubber. Lefty 6'3", 190. He's got the lanky frame. Shakes off Ferry once, agrees on the second pitch. Stares down Coots, lifts his right leg and delivers low.
Yeah, he's been very methodical these last 2 at-bats, but he hasn't been hitting the strike zone at all. Also interesting to note is he's got that really big frame, and he doesn't really use it. Kind of just, it's a cursory movement lifting the leg, and then the way he throws, kind of very arm-heavy, more of a straight arm approach rather than really generating some velocity from his lower half.
First mid-inning mound meeting. We saw a handful of them last night as Mike Roberts strolls out to the bump, crosses his arms, and we can take a bathroom break, go get a drink of water.
Yeah, this is going to be a minute. If I were home plate umpire Doug Isham, I would be walking out to the mound already.
Engaged in deep, methodical conversation, an enriching discussion between the 6 infielders and the head coach. Doug Isham now makes a quick pace over to the mound. He joins the powwow and trying to break it up. And the call to the bullpen is made by Doug Isham.
That's what Roberts forces them to do.
Roberts
he buys all that time.
Roberts didn't even make the call himself. Shaking his head and keeping those arms crossed. He's in his 15th season at the helm in Cotuit. Most recently winning the Cape League Championship in 2013. Also saw him win in 2010. He was the head coach at UNC for 20 years. 9 NCAA postseason appearances, 2 College World Series appearances.
You're going to have to help me with his son was a standout with the Baltimore Orioles. Infielder, can't remember the first name. Had his career limited due to concussions. As now getting a nice ovation is Holcomb because he will be exiting with a 3-0 count and 2 outs against Tim Tawa. But Mike Roberts is another one of those Cape League managers that has the accolades that is usually not quite typical of a summer league position. We know Tom Holliday has been just about everywhere. He's been with blue chip programs all across the country, from Texas to Miami. And then Mike Roberts is one of those guys. Ron Polk in Hyannis, he was, the big bad beast of the SEC for a long time, coaching at Mississippi State, coaching at South Carolina, Arkansas. But Mike Roberts, also along with those guys, he's got a pretty big pedigree too.
So the new pitcher for the Kettleers is the designated hitter, Matt Mervis. He has made 2 appearances this summer, both of them in relief. He has a 1.80 ERA and a 0-1 record. His last time out was in a 1-0 loss to Wareham, and he was tabbed with a 1 earned run on 2 hits, no walks, and no strikeouts. So we'll see what change Mike Roberts makes offensively.
Yeah, this is really curious because I remember this happened a lot during the school season at Miami where I was broadcasting. J.P. Gates was their DH, but he was also a relief pitcher. So when they would bring in J.P. to come in relief and move him from the designated hitting position, the umpires always got confused. They always weren't sure because there's a rule where Miami can let go of that DH spot and just have the new pitcher fill in the DH role the rest of the game. Obviously, you wouldn't do that if you're bringing in a guy who exclusively pitches, but when you bring in a two-way player like Mervis, they might just say, yeah, we've lost our DH position. But then if you bring in a new pitcher, he becomes the DH, I think. It's really confusing. Always threw the umpires off, but if you make a parallel move at the DH hole, then you can avoid it.
Well, we'll see in the bottom of the 7th inning as Mervis was due up to start that inning number 7. Mervis, a rising senior at Duke. We talked about his offensive stats, and you mentioned how he was a two-way player and primarily appeared as a pitcher in his first 2 seasons. During his junior campaign, pitched only 8 1/3 innings over 7 appearances. 2.16 ERA, 5 walks, and 8 strikeouts.
He got progressively better as he stopped getting appearances. So let me know how that works. But maybe it's just those ACC teams, weren't being able to get used to him anymore. His ERA went from 7.93 as a freshman, where he had a ton of appearances, to 4.91 as a sophomore, to 2.16 this past year when he had significantly less innings of work.
He'll face Tawa on a 3-0 count, and it's ball 4 high.
What? Oh, I thought that was right down the middle.
I think high was the call, but nonetheless, he flips his bat towards the dugout and heads to first base. 2 runners on and 2 outs for the Commodores, and Austin Langworthy, who has made hard contact every time he's been up, is up for his 4th AB.
One of these is going over the wall from Langworthy. He's gotten so much exit velocity on every pitch and on every swing that it's only a matter of time. We know he's a power hitter first and foremost, and it's coming soon, trust me.
Langworthy with a walk-off home run in Game 3 of the Super Regional last year against Auburn. Went off of the glove of the right fielder for the Tigers, Stephen Williams. He was a 2018 Falmouth Commodore and was tabbed to be here in 2019. Decided not to come. Swing and a miss on the 93-mile-an-hour fastball from Mervis. It's 0-1.
Those 2 were teammates last year.
Isn't that crazy?
We never got to talk too much with them about the whole dynamic, I think, because we were kind of afraid to if it would upset Steven. But I do want to pick Austin's brain about it and see if they gave him any grief or if Austin's a very low-key guy, so I doubt he did it.
The 0-1. Chopped over to second base. High hop, but fielded nicely by Gonzalez. He shuffles it on to shortstop for the 3rd out. Commodores get no runs on no hits. No errors, and they leave 1 on base. We head to the bottom of inning number 7. It's 3-1 Doors, Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Sammy Strick from Samford University towing the rubber for inning number 7. He has been absolutely dealing. He's retired the last 8 Kettleers he's faced. Hasn't allowed a hit since the 4th inning. So why not throw him out there for inning number 7? First pitch to Matt Mervis, who is the pitcher and also the DH. Question mark? I don't know how this works, but he is up at the plate, and he takes ball 1, low and outside.
I think this means if they bring in another pitcher later on, that pitcher has to also do the hitting.
Curveball stays high, 2-0.
Also, Strickland still on the mound, really showing some fortitude in this start. He clearly's got the stamina back. It's a shame that this will be his last outing because he's got all that juice in his arm.
Ball 3, a fastball that misses in the dirt. We saw him picking his spots and drilling them in the 6th inning. He only threw 2 balls, 5 total pitches, and forced 3 groundouts. This will be pitch number 4 of the bottom of the 7th. The 3-0 to Mervis. Claunch sets up outside, and it sails way high. A 4-pitch walk to Strickland.
And Strickland on those curveballs look like they slipped out just about every time. I don't know if maybe I spoke too soon. He's losing the stamina a little bit, or if he just didn't have a grip on that. But that immediately draws Mike Landry as Sam really looked uncomfortable after he threw the last curve.
Strickland frustrated as he asked for a new ball from the home plate umpire, Doug Isham. But that might be as long as the leash will go from Mike Landry. Indeed, it looks like he's going to make the call to the bullpen. He pats Strickland on the side and says, great job, and makes the call to the pen. Might have been one of those situations. He said, you can go out for the 7th, but 1 base runner, and it'll be the hook.
Yeah, you don't want to break up the, 8 in a row retired that he had going. So I think it was exactly that. He's like, hey, if you can keep it going, we'll eat you for 1 more inning. But if you run into trouble, if you show a little discomfort, if you show anything, this is your last start. We can't send you back to Sanford, with your arm in a sling.
Call will be to Caleb Worster, lefty from UConn, who taps Sam Strickland on the chest, who is all smiles as he heads back to the dugout. Gets some applause from the Falmouth faithful here on the third base side. Even some Cotuit fans tipping the cap to Strickland as he fist bumps Austin Maisel, high fives Kevin Kendall, and gets a chorus of praise in the Falmouth dugout.
Yeah, Sam deserves it. Allows 1 run on only 4 hits. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. That's pretty much identical to what they were able to do yesterday against Cotuit. I think Cotuit was able to score only 1 run on 5 hits in yesterday's ball game. That was with Nastrini on the bump, plus a couple of relievers. Strickland eating up a ton of innings, 6 strong as well. He cemented himself in line for a victory as long as the bullpen can lock it down.
Coming out in relief is the pitcher from UConn, Caleb Worster, 4th appearance of the summer. And his last time out against Orleans, Danny, he looked great. 2 innings of work against the Firebirds.
Yeah, he's become, he signed a permanent contract, but he was a temporary player for Wareham to start the summer. Didn't really get too much action in Wareham before getting cut. Picked up by Falmouth. They give him a permanent contract, and whatever Mike Landry saw in him, it's worked out. Because like you said, he looked phenomenal in that game against Orleans. He came into a game where they desperately needed someone to throw strikes, desperately needed someone to eat up some innings after they went to 2 relievers who both were, just getting themselves into trouble through lack of control. And Worster was that guy, and he's getting a lot of calls to the bullpen, despite having this big wealth of pitchers. This is now his 4th appearance, and he only came onto the team in mid-June. So that's not been a lot of games, and he's seen a lot of action.
Worster, rising redshirt sophomore at UConn, at a 2.66 ERA in 2019, 5-1 record, 47 1/3 innings of work. His longest outing was just 3 innings against Oklahoma State in early June. That was actually in the NCAA regional. They went down to face the Cowboys. Native of Coventry, Rhode Island, went to Bishop Hendrick High School. And he will face Sam Ferry here in the 7th. 4-pitch walk to Matt Mervis, who's DHing and now also on the mound for Cotuit. Worster settles in the stretch, jiggles that glove, kicks and delivers. Fastball outside.
Just need control right now. I mean, Cotuit hasn't shown over these past 2 games, they haven't shown that their bats are really active at all. It's very opposite of what we expected out of the Kettleers, but hey, Falmouth will take it. You just got to throw them strikes, though.
Just a 2-run deficit for the Kettleers, despite only 4 hits compared to Falmouth's 9. 1-0 is sliced back foul, lands quickly on the grass. 1-1. Worcester and Bryce Miller combined for 3 innings of relief against the Firebirds in a 3-1 loss on July 1st. That was the last loss the Commodores have had since they've won 2 straight. The 1-1. Bunt shown. Pulls back, takes a ball. Claunch fakes the throw over to first to keep Mervis honest.
Yeah, but Falmouth has not won 3 straight yet. They're one of only a few teams in the Cape that haven't put together some type of winning streak. So, I mean, I guess you could call 2 games a winning streak, but I'm sure they're looking to get the ball rolling and start to string some of those together into longer numbers.
The 2-1 showing bunt again. This time it's low. Corner infielders were in. Did he pull back in time? Yes, he did. 3-1.
Control hasn't really been an issue for Worcester at all this season. He hasn't allowed a walk. All of a sudden, his very first batter, Sam Ferry, who's giving himself up, and Worcester still can't find the zone.
The 3-1. Shows bunt again, gets a piece of it, fouled back behind the plate. Full count.
I don't know if Ferry is being called on to sacrifice. I think he is, because you don't usually have your catcher try to lay down a drag bunt, especially with a runner on first and nobody out in a two-run score. But he wasn't putting down a bunt like he was trying to give himself up. He was busting out of the box already as he was putting it down. So that's some mechanical mistakes from Ferry, who should know his job is just lay it down and know that the runner on first is more important.
3-2. Stays up, possibly playable for Jackson Coots, who's on the run, but it lands back behind the fence. So the count will remain the same. Cam Hill on deck, who's 0 for 2, followed by Adam Oviedo, 1 for 2. Kettleers trying to break through after Strickland held them largely off the board.
Even when they scored in the 4th, it wasn't really like, a mess of an inning. He allowed 2 hits. He allowed back-to-back hits. Chavers had a double and Mervis had a single. It was a close play at the plate. I mean, maybe a little bit of a better throw and a squeeze by Troy Claunch would have resulted in an out, and this could be still a 3-0 game. So Sam Strickland, when he didn't even get himself into too much trouble. He got out of it pretty quickly.
Worcester dangling that left arm, finally pulls it back and settles the glove about letter high. Lifts his right leg and delivers. Ball 4. Low fastball. And the second straight walk for Falmouth pitching puts 2 on and nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. Leading run comes to the plate.
And this is where things get dicey. This is where, the other team can really get back into the ball game, and through they didn't earn it at all. It was just a couple walks delivered by Falmouth pitching. We saw Cotuit pitching do the same thing yesterday, where they pretty much gave the doors to the game in the middle of the game in what was it, the 4th or 5th inning, where they just had a bunch of walks, wild pitches, hit by pitches, and Falmouth was able to take a comfortable lead and run away with it. Well, you don't want to let Cotuit get back into the game by giving them the same thing. At least make them beat you.
Cam Hill, Kentucky Wildcat, steps in for a lefty-lefty matchup. Worcester still from the stretch. He just issued his first walk of the summer. Showing bunt, pulling back and taking a ball is Cam Hill. Danny, you mentioned it when Caleb Worcester came out of the pen. You mentioned how he's gotten more appearances, especially as of late. It is worth noting a few arms departing for the Commodores. Bryce Miller made his final appearance last night. He was locked down, did not allow an earned run in his final 2 appearances of the summer. Showing bunt again is Hill, and again it's outside.
He's giving himself up. Just throw a strike. Claunch is going to talk to him about it, and good call.
But Miller, Texas A&M Aggie, gave up 2 runs in his second appearance, and in his final 3 innings of work was just about perfect. Gave up only 1 hit and 1 walk. Tommy Sheehan, also recently deactivated and released. And we knew that was coming. I mean, the innings that he threw at
He had
Notre Dame.
92 innings coming into the summer. I mean, come on.
Pitched
I'm
8 in the
surprised he even
third
came.
on the Cape. Gave up only 2 earned runs. Rising junior at Notre Dame. And Strickland now done in a Commodores uniform. The 2-0 bunt attempt. It's dribbled down the third base line. Foul ball fielded by Claunch. 2-1.
So that's actually turns out to be lucky for the Doors that it was
Yeah.
called foul, because on first glance, Claunch gets it immediately, and he easily has the runner Mervis advancing to third base, but Tawa wasn't covering the bag.
Yeah.
He was coming in to charge the bunt. Didn't realize that Claunch had gotten to it, so it probably would have been both runners advancing, and maybe Claunch would have been able to turn around to first in time to get the out, but no guarantee.
Tricky situation for the Commodores defensively because you want your corner infielders coming in on a bunt. But then Cruz over at short can't cover third base because he's playing a double play depth. Shaded towards second with runners on first and second and nobody out. Another bunt shown from Hill. This one down the third base line. And Tawa's going to watch it foul. Smart play by the third baseman. Otherwise, would have made for the bases loaded.
That was a fantastic bunt. Hill has been trying to do that the entire at-bat. The first one went foul. This one, if he can just poke it up that third base line, exactly what you were saying is that nobody can really get to it unless Tawa doesn't cover the bag, and then they have no shot at getting Mervis. Even if Hill is thrown out at first base, he gets his job done because he moves both guys into scoring position. Well, that one nearly did the trick, but he got a little too much mustard on it off the bat, and it just rolled foul. Good play by Tawa, though, like you said, waiting to let it go foul.
Mike Roberts, head coach for the Cavaliers, is going to bring Hill over and have a conversation with him. Down on the third base line by the grass.
Brian Roberts. I'm sorry. Brian Roberts was his son. Is his son.
Oh, okay.
Baltimore Oriole, fantastic player, played about a decade with the O's, played mostly second base, saw his career end due to a couple of concussions. But he was a great contact guy. That is Mike Roberts' son. And I have finally come full circle on what the bag of worms I opened up innings ago.
2-2 the count to Cam Hill. Both runners on base for the Cavaliers reached by way of the walk. Strickland issued one, Worcester issued one. Hill is showing bunt again, even with 2 strikes. He pulls back to make the count full.
Yeah, I don't know what Roberts told him, but, I mean, if anything, that was a full take, it was my guess, because I don't think he was going to even try to lay it down at all. I think that was maybe to try to draw a ball out of Worcester, maybe try to work a walk or something, because he didn't pull it back to try to swing away, which is another viable option. Try to open up that hole on the left side and shoot it through.
Hill with a full count, showing bunt again. He tries to lay it down. He does not pull it back for an out. Claunch throws down to second. Sliding back in time is Mervis, and Claunch thought he had a strike him out, throw him out double play.
Yeah, that was nearly the weirdest strike him out, throw him out double play I've ever seen live. It would have been a shown bunt on 2 strikes, doesn't get it down, doesn't foul it, which also results in a strikeout, but just couldn't make contact with it, and then a back pick from Troy Claunch, but Mervis lucky to dive back just in time.
Brings up a pinch hitter for the Cavaliers as we head into crunch time in this game. We're going to see a lot more changes from Mike Roberts. Brings up Araj Anu. He played last night in the game between Cotuit and Falmouth. Was largely stymied at the plate. Had a .394 average this past year. Transfer from Wallace Community College to Kentucky. First pitch he sees is a ball outside. So a game that was picking up in pace has all of a sudden slowed down big time here in the 7th. Just 1 out, 2 runners on, with Worcester now towing the rubber for the Doors. Second ball in the dirt, 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Skips in at the plate.
Caleb just doesn't look as sure of himself as he had in his previous couple of outings. He looks like he's overthrowing. His mechanics kind of look a little herky-jerky. Doesn't seem to quite be as smooth and fluid as you want out of your pitcher, especially that one where it looked like everything was kind of off.
Anu 0 for 3 last night against Falmouth. The 2-0. Swung on, fouled. 2-1 is the count.
And Anu was that incredible standout from Orlando, Florida, who ended up going to community college in Alabama, now going to Kentucky after a couple of years, but he was a top 25 outfielder in the country out of high school. He was drafted by the Red Sox in the 16th round, which is really high for a high schooler. Typically, if you're a high schooler, you're either going in the first and second round or in like the 38th or 39th.
2-1 the count. Lefty-righty matchup. Swung on, fouled back. 2-2.
And I think this is a huge moment for Worcester. Yeah, if he gets an out here, it's only 2 outs. But at the same time, ground ball could mean 2. Strikeout could give you a little bit of your confidence back. And in a 3-1 game, every pitch counts, especially with runners on base. I mean, heck, Anu is the go-ahead run at the dish right now.
2-2. 2 on, 1 out. Curveball, fouled. This one's going to stay playable for Jackson Coots. He is down the line, and he makes the catch. 2 down.
Huge out for Caleb. I mean, he keeps both runners at bay, and he gets Anu to go down pretty easily despite a longer count. But now things get even trickier as Nick Gonzalez, the fantastic leadoff hitter, is at the plate. And with 2 outs, runners will be going on contact. So a ball in the gap doesn't, guarantee 2, but it could definitely mean 2, as runner on first Sam Ferry would be running right when it hits the bat.
This is definitely the man that they want at the plate with 2 on and 2 out. Highest average on the team, consistent leadoff man in Nick Gonzalez. He slices one foul and out of play.
Of course, we mentioned how he went 0 for yesterday, and the Falmouth pitching was brilliant against him. But the last time that he went 0 for was July 1st. Very next day, he went 3 for 5. Has 6 multi-hit games as well. He's already got 1 hit today. So statistically, kind of shows that he's more of a threat right now.
The 0-1. It's a ball that breaks too far inside. Gonzalez had back-to-back 4 for 5 games against the Wareham Gatemen in the final 2 days of June. He's been one of the best hitters, if not the best, on this Cotuit team. Cotuit fans clapping loudly in the third base bleachers. They know that this is the best opportunity they've had offensively in a few innings. 2 on, 2 out. The 1-1 from Worcester. Fastball into right center field. Deloach is there. Sun in his eyes, and he makes the catch. A long bottom of inning number 7 that started with 2 walks, ends with a strikeout, a pop-out, and a flyout. It's still 3-1 as we head to the 8th on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Matthew Mervis comes out for his first full inning of work in the top of inning number 8. Hitters 1, 2, and 3 due up for the Commodores. As we look ahead at the upcoming schedule for the Doors, they're in a slog of the month of July. Doubleheader at home against Chatham tomorrow to make up for the rainout against the Anglers. First game starting at 3 p.m. Second game is when we will have our Military Appreciation Night. Expect about a 6 o'clock first pitch, but stay tuned to our social media to get the exact time on that. Then a trip out to Stony Brook Field in Brewster, home game against Harwich, and then a festival of road trips to start off next week. Bourne, Hyannis, and Cotuit, 3 Western Division matchups Monday through Wednesday, and a trip back to Veterans Field in Chatham.
How about that? I don't know what it is about the Cape League scheduling this year, but a couple weeks ago we were supposed to have a 4-game road trip. All of those games got rained out, so it didn't happen. But then they also schedule another 3 or 4 game road trip 2 weeks later. They are pretty much putting teams on basically series on the road and having them play in bunches at home.
So hitters 1, 2, and 3 due up. Hayden Cantrell will start things off. Matthew Mervis on the bump. Delivers a first pitch fastball. That lands foul by that same photographer who's somehow stayed out of the way of these foul balls. Sad news for Hayden Cantrell, the Louisiana Lafayette baseball team, as Tony Robichaud, their 25-year head coach, passing away just 2 days ago at the age of 57, had a heart attack early last week. Ball misses upstairs to even the count. Legendary head coach down in New Orleans and beloved by all of his players. Led the team to an NCAA regional in 2016 and 2 super regional appearances in 14 and 15. Strike 2 at the belt to Hayden Cantrell. 25 years at UL Lafayette, before that at Southwestern Louisiana, before that at McKinney State. Ball 2 missing outside. Hayden Cantrell saying how much he meant to the team and to him personally, as he has nothing but good things to say about his college team, and a large reason for his amazing performance. As a high, deep drive into center field, backtracking is Cam Hill. He makes the catch at the wall. Cantrell moves to 1 for 5 on the day with a single back in the first.
That was an absolute rocket, and it just kept carrying. Hayden clearly showing that he's put on a lot of power over the past year, and he continues to play well. No, I know it's 1 for 5, but he's got a couple of hard-struck baseballs, that one included. And it's kind of, impressive, maybe a little, nice to see that Hayden not letting the bad news get to him too much.
Yeah.
He's still the same happy-go-lucky guy. He's still playing baseball every day, and he's not letting it bring down his game or his mood too much.
Thoughts and prayers with Robichaud's family, whole UL Lafayette baseball team, and really that whole community, as they have a rabid fan base down in New Orleans. Count 1-1 to Blake Dunn.
Only non-Power 5 team to average in the top 10 in attendance every year.
And Robichaud finishing with close to 1,200 wins in his coaching career. Beautiful curveball from Mervis, swung over and missed. Finished with 1,173 wins, 765 losses, and 2 ties. Winning percentage close to 700. The 1-2 fouled away to stay alive. Blake Dunn's having a good game. 2 singles, reached base 3 times, and scored in the third. The third inning was the last time the Commodores plated some runs. It was 2 runs on a triple from Trey Cruz. 1-2 spoiled again.
Yeah, this game is starting to feel a lot like that game at Bourne a couple days ago when Falmouth won 3-0. They scored all those runs early on. I don't think they scored after the third inning. Obviously, Bourne didn't score. Cotuit did here, but even Cotuit's run came super early.
Curveball that's fouled. He tried to hold up on the swing, but it just caught a piece of the bat and went down in the dirt. Would have been ball 2. As he smiles and jokes with the home plate umpire, Doug Isham. Some now setting here at Lowell Park. And if you were listening earlier in the game, that means that this game might be called early, depending on how quickly this 8th inning goes. No lights here in Cotuit. That's the reason for the 5 p.m. start. And they play at the mercy of the sun. Mervis from the windup. Delivers. And here is the third single for Blake Dunn. Past the outstretched glove of Oviedo at short.
I know we've mentioned it a ton that Blake Dunn's parents are in town for another weekend, and every single time they're in town, he puts on a show. He doesn't get the yips in front of the folks, and it's so cool to hear them. You know, no one else is clapping and cheering. Maybe people kind of out of the game, Cotuit fans, whatnot. But you got the mom and the dad, the two people just going crazy, shouting out "Yeah, Blake" and whistling, and that's so awesome to see. It's like a Little League game again.
Extended family also in town for Blake Dunn. As Zach DeLoach steps in, he singled his last time up in the 6th inning. That was when the Doors loaded the bases, their last real threat in the top half of the inning. Close pickoff move at first from Mervis, but Dunn slides in safely. He also has 2 stolen bases tonight.
Yeah, we haven't really harped on it because Falmouth is winning the baseball game and has been pretty much all along, but the only inning where they didn't put runners on base was the 4th. The bats have been alive, the base runners have been constant, but the runs have not.
90-mile-an-hour fastball shin high to DeLoach. First pitch of the AB misses.
They've already left 12 runners on base through these 7 innings, and if they don't score a run here and Dunn stays on, that would add another tally to that mark.
Strike 1 at the knees. DeLoach 1 for 3 with an RBI. It was the sac fly that scored Hayden Cantrell to open up the scoring in the top of the 1st. Another check at first. And rarely, Danny, do we see a pitcher coated with dirt. But Matt Mervis, who's also had some chances on the base paths as the designated hitter, is sporting some brown stains on the front of his pinstripe jersey. DeLoach fouls one back that caroms off the screen in a couple different directions, ends up in the grasp of a Falmouth bat boy.
Yeah, Mervis was nearly backpicked last half inning.
Yeah.
He was the runner on second base who was straying a little far off the bag when the bunt was failed. When Hill couldn't lay down the bunt, and then they nearly picked off Mervis.
Another check on Dunn. Commodores and Kettley are squaring off here on July 4th. Commodores had an off day on July 4th last year as Dunn fakes the steal. And striking out looking is Zach DeLoach. Late call from Doug Isham. He strikes out on 4 pitches. And his 2nd K of the night.
Yeah, DeLoach extends the hitting streak. He does have another sacrifice hit with another RBI, on the sacrifice fly he had in his first at-bat. But compared to what he had been doing in the previous games, this is a down day for him. Despite an RBI, despite a hit, 2 strikeouts, and 3 times where he's gone back to the dugout without reaching the base paths, that's a down day for Zach DeLoach, which just tells you how good his summer has been.
Claunch with a hack of a swing, connects on the head of the bat and lifts it foul. 0-1. Claunch 1 for 3 and a run scored. He also came to the plate on the 2-run triple from Trey Cruz. Dunn slides in safely at first yet again. Dodging out of the way is Ryan Eiley, the first base coach, as he thought that that ball might sneak past the glove of Joey Loperfido. Mervis, the big righty, with some giddy up on his fastball. We've seen it hit the low 90s. Here's off speed. That's lofted foul. 0-2 now the count. On deck, Trey Cruz, the reason that Falmouth is in the lead. 0-2. Back foul again.
Man, with all the hits that Falmouth has,
yeah,
this game has really slowed down to a snail's pace. I mean, 10 hits to only 4. This is now 3 straight games where they've reached double-digit hits. But this one would kind of be a downer just because even if they come away with the win, only the 3 runs. But thank the pitching for really keeping Cotuit down.
Commodores trying to move their win streak to 3 games. They're close to doing so as we are in the final couple of frames here at Lowell Park.
Haven't been above 500 since I think the second game of the season.
Yeah. 0-2 will have to wait as again checking on Dunn is Mervis. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 due up in the bottom of the 8th inning. Claunch connects. This one should stay playable for Loper Fido right in front of the Falmouth dugout. He makes the catch. Doors score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. Now 13 left on base all game. But they retain a 2-run lead heading into the bottom of the 8th inning. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network will be back after this.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Loper Fido, Major, and Schmidt due up for the Kettleers as they have a 2-run deficit to try to overcome here in the final innings. Danny, take me around the Cape League on this July 4th home and home across the Cape.
All right, hop on in. First, we're getting in the highway. We're going off to Yarmouth Dennis. They are facing the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, where everybody's playing a home and home. Hyannis got crushed.
Ground ball over to Cantrell, fields it on a forehand, flicks it over to Coots, 1 down.
As I was saying, Hyannis got crushed last night by YD. Today, it's a much closer game. The Harbor Hawks were winning 4-2. Now they're losing 5-4 to the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. That's only in the 7th inning, so that's another field without lights. We're quickly approaching 8 p.m. That game might be called early, and if that's a loss for Hyannis, would put them even further in the basement in the Western Division. Also, it'd be kind of a bummer because they're only 1 run back, and to have it called short really bring you down.
Worcester delivers to Albury Major. Pinch hitter who came in and grounded out to third his first time up. Strike 1 is a fastball at the belt.
Out in Harwich, bottom of the 5th, the Mariners beating the Whitecaps 3-0. And top of the 3rd in Orleans at I'm sure is a packed Eldridge Park. Chatham is leading Orleans 2-1.
Ground ball same direction. Tougher play for Tawa. Fields it, quickly throws over. Got him! What a play for Tim Tawa.
Damn.
The transfer happened in less than a second, and he immediately threw a strike on to Jackson Coots. Some Cotuit fans don't like it, but 2 down here in the 8th inning.
Definitely an out. I think he got Major by about a step. And Tawa, how about that throw? Had to short arm it because he was coming in on a run. and didn't really have any time. Like you said, the transfer had to be super quick, and he couldn't extend his arm. He couldn't really do much to get a throw off, so he kind of just had to give a little flick of the wrist, but he can do it. There's a lot of strength in that arm. It's obvious.
Brings up Casey Schmidt with 2 down. He swings at the first pitch. This is over to Trey Cruz. He fields it on a forehand, throws on the run, and makes the play. 3 groundouts to second, third, and short. Danny, give me the last score before we leave.
That's it.
Oh, you got me off.
Yeah, there are only 4 games because Bourne and Wareham, they are off today, just like Falmouth was last year. This time,
I hope they're enjoying the beach as we head into the 9th inning. It looks like we should be able to get it in. Still some daylight here at Lowell Park, and still a 3-1 lead for Falmouth.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official bat and glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday. What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
5, 6, and 7 due up for Falmouth. In the top of the 9th inning, last licks for the Commodores bats as they retain a 2-run lead. It's been the same score since the top of the 3rd inning. And the difference in the game, a 2-run triple from Trey Cruz into deep right field that scored Dunn and Clonch. He takes ball 1 from Mervis.
Yeah, in case you thought that we were getting repetitive with some of the stuff we said, there's a foul back into the fence. Blame the players because it has been the same score since the 3rd, although the pitching has been pretty good. I mean, I've said this before, but nothing like really brilliant. There were times where Strickland looked amazing. Worcester, I think, in that last half inning, ran roughshod through the lineup on 3 ground balls.
Ball 2 misses low.
But otherwise, it's not been like it's, been no-hit innings every single time. There have been some threats. Falmouth has been putting guys on base pretty consistently, just nobody getting the hits.
Trey Cruz ropes one into center field. Sliding and trying to make the catch is Cam Hill. It goes off his glove, and Cruz is aboard for the 3rd time tonight.
How about that from Trey? Really powerfully hit ball on a line. Hill coming in probably had an easy catch if he just squeezes the glove. I mean, the slide was timed well. He was right there for it, and it all of a sudden just ricocheted off the tip of his glove, goes down as a hit for Trey. His 3rd. He's looking pretty phenomenal these last couple of games.
And they bring up the hottest bat in the lineup, arguably, and Austin Maisel comes in for a pinch hit in the top of the 9th inning. Was 2 for 3 last night with a double and a single, an RBI as well. Moves to 11 for 22 on the summer. That's an even 500. And the lefty from Holy Cross has impressed this summer. Earned himself a spot in the lineup and on this roster into mid-July. Righty-lefty matchup as Mervis has been towing the rubber since the 7th inning.
No.
Foul ball goes off of his bat. Somehow he loses it and dodges out of the way. Unlucky play for Maisel.
They were having him bunt. He was showing bunt, and he bunted it foul, trying to pull it back. Why would you have Austin bunt? He's so good right now. I mean, granted, it's a very smart move to try to advance Cruz into scoring position. You have him there with 1 out, and then the top of your lineup can try to hit him home with just a base hit. But at the same token, Austin is 11 for 22. He is red hot.
Shows bunt again down the first base line. Mervis is there, throws on to first, and Cruz moves to second. One down and one on, now in scoring position.
All right, so even when Austin is called upon not to get a hit, he still contributes to the team, gets the job done, lays it down perfectly. Cruz with speed is on second. All the Doors need is one base hit, and they get some much-needed insurance. Right now, it really feels like a 3-run lead is a lot better, more comfortable than a 2-run lead. It's only a difference of one, but again, just the way that Falmouth has been pitching and the way that Cotuit has been hitting, they just need a couple of balls to fall their way to tie a ball game. 3 runs makes it a little tougher.
Cruz stands on second. Coots at the plate. Mervis looks into Ferry, as it's quickly getting darker and darker here at Lowell Park. Takes a strike at the belt.
Something that happens when the sun does set.
Funny guy. Funny guy over here. I didn't know we had a comedian.
I got to entertain somehow.
Well, Thomas Gerard is warming in the bullpen, trying to close out this game. As ball one leaks away from Ferry, but Cruz stays put at second base. And in the one appearance that we've seen from Gerard, he has been awesome.
He was throwing a wiffle ball in that appearance.
He threw 17 strikes before he had one ball.
And most of his pitches, not most of them, but a lot of them were missing out of the zone. He was getting so many swinging strikes because he had that thing moving at will.
That one was moving at will. A curveball that drops below the bat of Jackson Coots, 1-2 the count.
Jackson trying to avoid going over in only his second game played this season. Talk about consistency in the lineup. He has been the standard bearer.
Did reach base twice on 2 walks. Stays alive after fouling one back. On deck, Tim Tawa. Langworthy after him. Cruz led off with a single and advanced to second on the Austin Maisel bunt. The 1-2. This is a high, deep drive into center field. Under it is Hill. He makes the catch. Cruz is tagging up. Long throw into third. Won't be in time. Head first slide from Cruz. He moves to 90 feet away. Loud crack off the bat of Coots, but it just hung up a little bit too high.
Yeah, I didn't think it had a chance to go out just because he got so far under it, and the ball has been dying in the outfield this game. For pretty much both sides, fly balls have been falling way short of where they look like they're going to be off the crack of the bat. But Coots, that one kept carrying for him. He's got a lot of power in that big, stocky frame, and he put it deep enough for Cruz to advance, so still a very productive at-bat. And Tim Tawa now makes it a little bit easier for him. Obviously, Cruz running with 2 outs, but if it's a slower hit ball or a quicker hit ball for that matter, Cruz can score without a doubt.
Here's a one-hopper off the glove of Gonzalez. He's safe at first base. Cruz taps home plate, and it's a 4-1 ball game.
And there you go. That's exactly why that Coots flyout was so important, because that was an intended backhand scoop over at second base. Didn't get into the outfield. It ricocheted right towards short and fielded after the bounce. So Tawa is safe at first. Cruz would have only been on third after that. It would have been first and third and still a 3-1 game. Instead, the run comes home, and Tim Tawa gets an RBI.
It's ruled an RBI single. Langworthy up. Watches ball one low at the shins. Tawa started off the game with a single in the top of the second. And he bookends it with a single here in the 9th. Checks on him over at first, does Mervis. Langworthy wearing number 26, wore number 7 last summer, which is now worn by Kevin Kendall, UCLA Bruin. 1-0 the count. Ball low, and a throw on to second base. Got him! Perry with his first caught stealing of the night. Tim Tawa gets out on the base paths to end the top of the 9th inning, and he's still on second base. Brett Becker jogging out to have a conversation with Tawa, who put the Commodores ahead with his RBI single. 12th hit of the night, 4th run for the Doors as we head to the final frame. Bottom of the 9th coming up. We'll be back.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20 plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
All right, folks, bottom of the ninth we go. Hitters 5, 6, and 7 due up for Cotuit. Falmouth 3 outs away from their third win in a row. And Thomas Gerard on the bump for the Doors.
Dude was absolute flames in his one appearance
Insane.
on the summer so far. It was a 10-4 loss to Hyannis, but my takeaway from that game, ever the optimist, was that Thomas Gerard was unreal. An inning and two-thirds, didn't allow anything, and struck out 2 facing 5 batters, so he faced the minimum. And like David said last half inning, his first, 17 pitches?
Yep.
17 pitches were all strikes, and not all of them were even in the strike zone. He was throwing a lot of sliders and curveballs that were breaking well before the plate, missing way outside, and he was getting so many swings and misses. That's just how nasty his stuff is. Was the closer at Duke this past year, was brilliant. He was integral to their improbable run into a super regional, where it came in clutch in a couple of those postseason games, locking things down. So Thomas Gerard in a Doors uniform, only getting his second appearance, but it is a welcome sight.
Fastball can touch the low 90s. His slider is absolutely lethal. It dies before it hits the plate, and a lot of the time, batters have already swung well through by the time they can try to pause and hold up. Gerard, a rising junior at Duke, had a 2.33 ERA with the Blue Devils this past year. 9 saves, 46 and a third innings of work, 61 strikeouts, and a 176 opponent batting average. Somehow he was 1-5. He's trying to get his first save of the summer tonight. First up is Parker Shavers, who swings and misses. And Gerard picks up right where he left off with a first pitch strike.
Yeah, that's something he does a lot, is throw a lot of strikes, and that is so crucial for a closer, obviously.
The 0-1. Beautiful curveball, 80 miles an hour, 0-2. Gerard from the stretch, despite nobody on base. The righty delivers to Shavers. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Sheesh.
This stuff is just gross. It is putrid, what he's doing.
So that was a curveball, and it skipped maybe like 3 feet in front of the plate. Like, he threw that a good 57 feet, and that was the most confused of half swings ever by Parker Shavers, as he came around with his elbows and his wrists, couldn't stop the bat head in time, clearly crossed the plane, and it's like he handcuffed himself 3 times over and broke his wrists while trying to hold up the swing.
Teammates now going up against each other in Mervis and Gerard.
Oh, here for bragging rights.
Mervis watches a first pitch ball, so no 17 strikes in a row for Gerard this time out. Mervis, who ended the game on the rubber for Cotuit, he was pretty good out there. Came in with a 3-0 count, issued a walk to Tawa as ball number 2 misses just below the kneecaps of Matt Mervis.
I'm looking to see if there's any friendly jarring or anything.
Nothing.
Nothing yet. They both seem locked in.
Gerard, a native of Simsbury, Connecticut, went to Avon Old Farm High School. Number 2 right-handed pitcher in Connecticut out of high school. Strike one, inside part of the plate, off speed, 2-1.
He has the curveball on a string.
Multiple pitchers for Falmouth have said that Girard has the best slider that they've ever seen. He's looking pretty good so far, trying to get his first save and the third win in a row for Falmouth. The 2-1. Curveball drops in, 2-2.
Mervis knows the scouting report, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pitched with this guy. He's probably seen him in the bullpen. He is obviously plays with him, so he sees the stuff every single time Girard has come in to pitch. They probably talk pitching with each other, and he still seems like he's not quite sure what to do.
Well, he hasn't swung the bat yet. Here's the 2-2. Curveball over towards first base. One hopper to Jackson Cotuit, who fields it and taps the bag. Put into play, which is more than most can say against Thomas Girard. Matt Mervis smiles, and then there's the friendly banter afterwards on a hard-hit ground ball to Jackson Cotuit for the second out.
Yeah, off the bat, I thought that was going to be a base hit. Thought it was going to squeak through the 4-3 hole, so Girard gets away with it because Cotuit was positioned perfectly, took the interesting hop, and Jackson stays with it, is able to corral it on the heel of his glove while coming in to make sure that his chest was in front of it, so didn't try to get lazy and field it to his side. Good job by the traditional outfielder.
That one skips in the dirt and past Troy Clonch. A race of the Bat Boys that Cotuit wins. Gets to the ball and heads back to the dugout on the third base side. Sam Ferry up at the plate. 0 for 2 today with a walk. Hard fly ball to center field his first time up in the second. Fastball low, chopped foul, 1-1.
It's really dark right now. Not really dark, but it's pretty dark. I mean, we're getting...
That's what happens when the sun sets.
We're about like 10 minutes away from where they would probably call the game. So I can't imagine how much more difficult it would be for Ferry right now trying to like register what Girard is throwing with the shadows.
The 1-1. Curveball drops in for a strike. Ferry was moving out of the way. He shakes his head and tries to regather before he steps in to the batter's box. 1-2 now the count. I mean, there are not many pitchers or hitters that can look so dominant in a league like this.
Yeah.
That's just stacked with talent, but Girard has been doing it so far. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. 1-2-3 inning for Thomas Girard, who gets the save. Falmouth wins 4-1 and gets their third straight win of the summer. They are now above 500 for the first time since mid-June, 8-7-1. Cotuit drops back to an even 500 at 9-9-2. Danny, let's first talk about pitching for Falmouth. We'll start at the end. We'll start with Thomas Girard, and then also give me your thoughts on Sam Strickland.
I mean, Thomas Girard was electric because, of course, he was. His stuff is amazing. He's got it on a string. It's like he's throwing a wiffle ball. I've said all these things, and it all rang true in this ninth inning. He put down Cotuit like nobody's business. Sam Strickland, meanwhile, on the start, I wasn't sure what to expect because Sam Strickland, like I said a couple of times early in the game, he hasn't been too great. He hasn't been too bad. He's just kind of been right in the middle. His first couple of outings didn't really go too deep into games, got hit around a little bit, but didn't let up all too many runs. He knows how to get out of jams. And today he was magnificent. He actually got better as the game wore on. We were pretty surprised to see him come out for the sixth inning after he worked a 1-2-3 fifth. He worked a 1-2-3 sixth as well. So when his pitch count got up, when he started to get a little fatigued, he started to lock things down. Really only ran into trouble in the fourth off of back-to-back hits, let up the one run there. Otherwise, he was extremely effective.
For the Commodores bats, Danny, they scored most of their runs in the earlier third of this game. 2-run triple for Trey Cruz, as they were blanked later in the game, but they did get the one run in the ninth.
Yeah, so early on in the ball game, it was kind of a hit parade. Things were going really slow. There were a lot of long innings. The pitchers didn't really look like they were locked in yet, and that's when Falmouth was able to pour it on. They scored those 3 runs in the first 3 innings. They were putting a lot of runners on base afterwards. I mean, the 6th inning stands out where they had 3 hits, had the bases loaded, stranded them there. They ended up stranding 13 runners on the base paths. So when you take that into account, you might think, oh, this wasn't really an offensive, game. This probably would have resulted in a loss, more times than not. But the pitching was sound. Cotuit hitting still stymied against Falmouth pitching. They had no hits after the 4th inning. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Cotuit held hitless. So that is pretty incredible for the Falmouth bullpen and for Sam Strickland, as the bats hey, they were present in the beginning of the game, and that's all they needed, so you can't complain too much.
And the last thing I'll ask Danny, looking at the Western Division standings, Cotuit back to 500. Falmouth still with a few games at hand against those top 2 teams in the West Division. That turning point against Brewster seems to be ringing true through July 4th.
Yeah, Falmouth is climbing. They are surging. They've put some distance between them and Bourne, who stands at 6-11. They obviously didn't play today. Hyannis still floundering at the bottom of the barrel in the West at 3 wins. Falmouth up to 8. They've got a couple games in hand, and they've made moves on Cotuit, who they're only a couple points behind. Again, games in hand. Wareham, meanwhile, they're right around 500 at 10-8-1. So Falmouth really has a chance to surge back into the top of the ranks in the Western Division, similar to what we saw last year. Took them about 15 games, 10 to 15 games to get going, and this year, same thing, they've gotten going. They got a 3-game win streak.
That will do it here from Lowell Park as the sun is setting on the Commodores and the Cavaliers. They win their 2nd in a row. They sweep the home and home in the middle of the July 4th week. Strickland gets the win in his final outing in a Commodores uniform, moves his record on the summer to 1-1. Sean Sullivan of the Cavaliers gets the loss, his 2nd of the summer. Thomas Gerard comes in and gets his first save with 2 strikeouts. Cotuit moves to 9-9-2. Falmouth 8-7-1. For the final time here from Lowell Park, we're saying so long and happy 4th of July for our sideline reporter, Katie Florio, for my broadcast partner, Danny LaRose, and my producer, Tony Bianco. I'm David Korzanowski saying so long and see you tomorrow back at the Gov for a doubleheader versus Chatham. Enjoy the rest of the 4th.